lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels slow motion, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
From Atlanta Motor Speedway, the Stacy Strong Cup Series is picking up steam as we dive into the 2024 regular season. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a beautiful night for racing here in Hampton, Georgia. Now that Daytona and all the nerves that come along with the opening of the season are in the rearview mirror, we can get down to business in the Peach State. Last week at the fabled Super Speedway, Patrick Gitter led 43 laps and captured the checkered flag, while the rest of the field looked on in awe at his masterful win. I'm Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth alongside Alan Bergen, and we'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. Alan, here we are, Sunday Night NASCAR, week number 2. Last week was an incredible race at Daytona. Of course, it was long, it was tiring, but it was exciting nonetheless. And I expect nothing but more of that tonight.
Yeah, no marathons for me this week, Dave. As you're right, but we're at a Super Speedway S type track, and I would assume that the yellow line rule is in effect in this series also. as it was in the real life NASCAR today, and in many other series that are running this track also.
Without a doubt. And, right now watching qualifying underway here, it's been pretty interesting overall if you think about it because, these drivers, many of them have really gotten into, at this stage in the evening, a pretty good groove after the warm-up. Now, Bobby Anderson just went fastest, laying down a 31.29 second lap as we'll pull up the standings so far. Looks like Bobby Anderson going to be up atop the pile. So pretty interesting so far. We want to take a look at the points from last week because, now that we finally had a points race, obviously we finally have something to show for it. As we pull up the driver points, Patrick Gitter's going to sit atop the pile, of course, bringing home the checkered flag in the first week of the season. Obviously key. Bonus points are going to come into effect as well this year. With 10 points being awarded at the end of every stage to the stage winner, 9 to the second, and so on until we get down to 1 point for that 10th place driver. So bonus points were a huge factor last week at Daytona. Patrick Gitter's going to sit atop the pile coming here into Atlanta. Sean Rogers sitting in second with just 45. Mike McConville, there's your first big gap at 40 points driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. A little bit of a tie there for fourth and fifth from Matt DiCiani and Kevin Zosiak in the 14 and the 36. And another tie here on the point standings tonight between Nick Hansen and Mike Witt. So, and then a three-way tie for 16th position, Dalton Mobley, Ken Ron, and Chad Sanner, all with 23 points. And not only was this a big night for Patrick Gitter, but also for his teammates as we pull up the team point standings. TCSP E10 Esports with 107 points, and look out because Joe Gibbs Racing 104 points. Those drivers last week were incredible.
Yeah, you got to give it up to Mr. Gitter there for pulling off that win there in Daytona. But I'm excited to see us get to our first mile and a half of the year as we're watching cars do qualifying right now. So right now, everybody's gunning for, Bobby Anderson at 31:29 that he ran. So the only person that got close to it right now is Shane Hodgson there with that 31.34. Right now he's running second. But right now, you're watching Richard Pruitt there in that number 24 car. And his first lap his best lap was a 31.45.
Yeah, Hodgson being separated by just 500th of a second from Anderson. McConville and Root basically dead even at 31:37. And the same goes for Philadelphia, Pennsylvania's very own Joe Stafford and Jacob Malone at 31:39. So a lot of close times here on this track as qualifying is underway here, round number 2. 89 degrees in the stands when the green flag drops. That track temperature, though, 106 degrees. So the asphalt is cooking. Maybe not enough to cook an egg, but it's definitely a little toasty down there. That's going to loosen up these cars and really start to make them slip slide around on this asphalt. We just saw the end of the real NASCAR race, of course, where Daniel Suarez brought home the checkered flag. It did get dark. It did start to cool the track off. So we should start to see a pretty interesting morphing of this racetrack, as this race goes on. And speaking of as the race goes on, just like a what am I thinking of?
Soap opera.
Thank you.
As the world turns, but as the race goes on.
Total brain fart. Let's see if we can get a hold of Gittins here. And of course, he's not in Discord. Why would you be?
Why would anybody
folks,
be?
We want to be able to get as many people on the air as possible, and that's not helping. So, in fact, what we're going to do now is get a hold of Mike McConville out of Cape May, New Jersey. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. How we doing?
I'm doing good. Listen, last week you had a strong finish at Daytona. Tonight you've got some unfinished business as we're at a similar but smaller racetrack than Daytona. Of course, everybody said that this has really become more like a mini super speedway. We say mini, it's only a mile shorter than Daytona.
It's definitely mini. With that mile is a lot. There's a lot tighter quarters around here. I think there's going to be. Hopefully, it's calm for a while, and then I honestly think it's going to be a junk show for a little bit.
Probably that first stage is going to be pretty treacherous. As many of our first stages are, and for lack of a better term, it gets some of the trash out. Just saying.
I wasn't trying to go that far, but
Well,
you're right.
look,
You're right.
I was one of the drivers that if you took me out in the first stage, I wasn't a factor in stage 3. I am the garbage that got taken out. But listen, as we get ready to rock and roll here tonight, you're going to roll off in 6th position, assuming nobody else knocks you off your pedestal there. What's going to be your strategy early on? Are you thinking, hang back or, full send and try to stay ahead of the mayhem?
Well, I actually qualified a lot better than I was expecting, so we're going to try to keep this number 1 up front. And if there's any potential sponsors out there, I got a lot of real estate on this race car. Come on aboard.
And we will absolutely get some camera time to show those sponsors where they can get that advertising, because here on Sim Racing Media, we have a huge, and I mean that in all sincerity, huge following. I mean, we were last week on YouTube among the most watched people on YouTube, which was incredible.
And you definitely deserve it. Like I go back every week and watch the races.
Well, we appreciate that, and believe me, I love every minute of it here in the booth. So, buddy, listen, good luck tonight, and maybe we're going to talk to you at the end of one of these stages.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope it's that final stage.
All right, brother man. You are in what team chat? You're up with Joe Gibbs.
Yeah.
All right. There's Patrick Gitter. Last week's winner of the Daytona 500, Patrick Gitter. Hey, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, here we are you're qualifying. Do you mind?
No, let's do it. It's all good.
So listen, I mean, we're going to get you some camera time anyway. Last week, you led 43 laps. I mean, it was an incredible week, incredible week coming into it. Of course, week number 1, your playoff spot is already secured. What's going to be your mindset coming into tonight?
I think it's obviously come in, try to win the race, week to week, take it 1 week at a time, but I think it eliminates a little bit of the need to be overly conservative, in certain cases of fuel strategy, things like that. I mean, in order to make absolutely sure you're there at the end to win it, I mean, you can get kind of aggressive with calls, pit strategies, things like that. So that'll be kind of interesting to play with the next few races to see if I can get an opportunity to try some things I wouldn't otherwise try typically.
Maybe we're some bad luck, though. I mean, I was just talking to McConville, and you just stole his spot like a pack of gum. My goodness.
Yeah, barely. This is such a technical track to qualify at. I mean, you hit, angle into one corner the wrong way. You come too far up the track the wrong way. I mean, like any other super speedway. So I expected it to be tight. Looks like the qualifying's definitely tight here tonight.
Absolutely. All right, man. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way. We're going to get you back up in your race chat because we're going to get through the starting grid.
All right, let's do it. Appreciate it, guys.
As, of course. And we're going to quick refresh those paints as everybody's going to get ready to rock and roll behind the iRacing.com pace car. As, of course, Alan, we here have a 5-minute warm-up.
Yeah, that's almost like a little mini happy hour, but it's a happy 5 minutes. So, real quick though, congratulations to your Phillies on their win against the Yankees today.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row. Make it 3, and they call that a streak, said Coach Lou Brown.
Well, my beloved Cardinals are 2-1 in spring training.
Did you know that Cardinals fans were voted as the friendliest in baseball?
We are.
I just, you know what, whatever. Have it your way.
Well, since we're going to BK, I mean...
It's the Cardinal way. Oh, we love the Cardinal way. Cardinal way this. Taking a look here at Mark Johnston in the 80. This is kind of an interesting practice run here. It looks like maybe they had a little pit party and it all came out together. We're going to see some interesting drafting and patterns tonight as these drivers basically are going to be here on a mini super speedway. I can't even believe what I'm seeing here in the warm-up. Thank goodness they're fake cars.
Yeah, I mean, fake cars. 2.5 minutes of warm up there. But man, these guys work all week to get ready for 260 laps of green flag racing here.
Well,
I mean,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm sure these guys even do official races and even do the NIS series there on Wednesdays and Fridays and stuff.
That's where a lot of these drivers get their practice in the NIS series, including Brian Tarnowski out of Waukesha, Wisconsin, driving the Trisha's Hope number 28 as our title sponsor for the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series. You know, it all comes down to Sunday night. We're the only game in town, and if you're not watching something else, you shouldn't be anyway. You should be right here with us. That's just what I'm feeling, because there's nothing better than Sunday night NASCAR. Whoa! Wow! Mobley almost took a race car to the face as the hashtag Stop Big Water number 57, driven by none other than Philadelphia, Pennsylvania's very own Joe Stafford, is being piloted around here. It says save. Can't read that. Something Water Authority. Oh, the Chester Water Authority. How about that? All right, 10-4. I guess I can get along with that.
I'm going to start a little debate, though.
All right.
Tarnowski is from Waukesha, Wisconsin. Waukesha. Is it Waukesha or Waukesha?
I don't know. It wasn't in class. It wasn't on the geography bee in 2002.
Waukesha. We'll go with Waukesha. You know what? We'll agree to disagree.
He's never corrected me, if that makes you feel any better.
Hey,
Let me go to my esteemed researcher and see if I can get that fixed.
ha!
So Waukesha, Wisconsin it is, as we get ready to go back to go green flag racing here. 260 scheduled laps tonight from Atlanta. Running 30-second laps. This should be blistering fast, which is pretty exciting as the drivers are all crawling into those cars, getting through the window net, getting ready to fire the engines. We'll take a look here at our starting lineup at the big version of it. Bobby Anderson going to be your pole sitter tonight. Tane Hodison going to start on the front row with him. Last week's winner, Patrick Gitter, going to start just ahead of Mike McConville, as it looks like McConville going to be racing JGR for Cup and TCR for Xfinity and Truck, so that's an interesting choice there. Prodigy Esports taking Alex Murray under their wing, while Joe Stafford representing Money House Racing. And wherever Leo Bonacasa is, get at me, bro. I haven't heard from you all off-season except for one little message on the old Facebook, and I miss me some Leo Bonacasa. There is a gentleman, Alan, that you would appreciate.
Nice.
He's a guy's guy. I love me some Leo Bonacasa. Former driver of the number 45. I assume that's what he's planning on driving this year, but right now he hiding. So as we get ready to take the green flag, let's take a look here at our starting lineup. Bobby Anderson on the inside pole for row number 1. He'll be joined on the front row by Tane Hodison. Row number 2 going to be made up of Matt DiCiani and Derek Heitman. Patrick Gitter, last week's winner at Daytona International Speedway, going to be joined by Alex Murray in row number 3. Row 4 going to feature Mike McConville and Randy Belk, while Chris Davis and Sean Rogers represent row number 5. Kevin Zosiak and Nolan Hodgson going to be in row number 6, while row 7 going to feature Mark Johnston and Richard Pruitt out of Sanford, North Carolina. Fairview, Tennessee's very own Chris Claude and Big Rock, Illinois' Alexander Gangler going to be in row number 7, while row number 8 going to be featured by Richard Pruitt and Anthony Savignano. Tyler Sexton going to be in row number 10 with Eric Papineau, Chad Sanner, and Jeff Carson going to be in row 11. Skip Gandy and Brian Tarnowski in row 12. Row 13 going to be Dalton Mobley and Rafael Rodriguez. Alex Brinson and Matt Metler, our former teammate here at Sim Racing Media, going to be in row number 15. Ron Fitting, Ricky Williams, Rich Jett, Tanner Marty, John Wilco, all going to be starting at the rear of the field with Ethan Eckert, RJ Root, Timothy Cook, Sean Kelly, Ken Ron. They're all going to be representing us here as we're going to have to dive back to the front of this piece. Ladies and gentlemen, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in. We are Green Flag Racing in Hotlanta.
We got Bobby Anderson taking the field down into turn number 1 here, Dave. And that 76 car is right on his tail. You're looking at that M&M's number 18 Ford Dark Horse Mustang. And they are going to fan out down the back straightaway. Everybody watching their V's and Q's.
Yeah, right now they're fanning out like a large chassised woman at Maranatha Baptist Church here in Atlanta as Patrick Gitter, last week's Super Speedway Whisperer, running in 9th position right now. We can see him here as we zoom right in on the young man, following just behind Matt DiCiani now as DiCiani and the 12 of Nolan Hodgson get wound up. We're here on lap number 2, and these drivers are not in the least trying to back off.
No.
3 and
down in the
4 wide.
Yeah, 3 wide actually. Down there towards the back, down there in the middle of the back. We're watching the leader of Bobby Anderson there down the front chute, and he's got a line going. Him and Derek Hyman and Randy Belk are trying to get a line formed so that way they can start a little breakaway.
Not much more of a breakaway than that as we take a look back here at Jeff Carson in the 9. He's working right underneath the 17 of Eric Papineau. And, out of line. Who is that falling helplessly through? That's Tane Hodison. What's going on there with Tane as he is now diving down pit road? Something must be wrong with the 93.
4 laps in, and the 93 car is on pit road. That is so disheartening as a driver, knowing that you're only 4 laps into this, 400 mile affair.
Especially when you qualify on the front row, my goodness. As right now he's going to have to get out of the way and allow Bobby Anderson to be the Pied Piper of Macon County. As he's got the 18, it's almost a cool. It's like a hybrid. It's not a throwback because it's on a Chevrolet. I'm sorry, because it's on a Ford. Yet at the same time, it's the 18, so it's kind of Kyle Busch, but it's a little bit country, and it's a little bit rock and roll. And speaking of rocking and rolling, let's look here toward the rear of this pack. Chris Claude hanging on just underneath Anthony Savignano, who's up 7 positions, as everybody just gained a position after, there's Tane now. For reasons I'm not quite sure of, just dancing back around with everybody. Chris Claude's here all by his lonesome. You might think that maybe he lost the draft or something to that effect. He didn't. He's just kind of hanging around because if something bad happens in front of him, he's going to be able to get a good eye on that, as right now he's following. What in the world is this mess? And it sounds like they're wrecking on the back stretch, but we stay green. So we'll find out more from timing and scoring when that pops up.
Yeah, so we got the AT car of Bobby Anderson. I just see that he's got a pretty good line formed up right now.
We're going to run this back and see what happened here, as it looks like Randall Watkins was involved in something with Matt Metler here on the backstretch. We can see Watkins on the high side. Metler there in the 64. Watkins all by his lonesome. There's Dalton Mobley who goes to split. What in the world? That's Dalton Mobley in the deuce, working the high side of Randall Watkins. I'm sorry, working the rear of Randall Watkins, the high side of Matt Metler. We're going to go right to the nose here and see if we can figure this one out. First, I got to find the deuce in our timing and scoring. There it is. Here he is. He's looking for an opening that just isn't really there, and then he gets sucked up right into the rear of Randall Watkins. And boom goes the proverbial dynamite as Watkins blinks out. Can't say I really agree with that. 9 laps in here. That puts Randall Watkins and Matt Metler both on pit road, as there was no caution. Nobody turned far enough to have iRacing throw the caution. So Bobby Anderson's still your race leader. Alan, there is nothing but close racing around this track.
Yeah, these guys are just getting after it all race long right now.
Side by side, they go through the quad oval. Chris Davis here in the 74, doing his best right now to hold in line here. You don't want to fall out of the draft, as he's got Mark Johnson to the low side. Mark Johnson now coming down the backstretch. He's all single file, just 2 cars here on the low side. So it looks like that high line is where the speed is right now they're laying down 30.36 second laps, 30.35 for our race leader. Randy Belk with a 30.36, so they've obviously got that figured out. Now, when you look down here at the double deuce of Alex Murray, he's at a 30.30, so maybe they do have a little bit more speed, but there's just 4 cars in that pack at the bottom. As they're side by side, it's starting to draft out a little bit as Skip Gandy leads another pack. This is just a little 5-car piece here. 5-piece and some scrimp, as Wheels would tell us. And they're just kind of following each other right now. Skip Gandy just wanting Jeff Carson to stay right on his bumper, and maybe they can try to close that nearly 4-second gap between themselves and Richard Pruitt.
Yeah, and, like I said, these guys, it's going to be a little bit of give and take here in this first stage of this race. As we're working, through the laps here, and these guys are going to have a whale of a time tonight trying to get these cars, because as we go deeper in the run, the cars are going to get looser, and the front ends are going to get lighter and lighter and lighter.
Without a doubt, as we look here at Matt DiCianni in the 14, he's leading the way in this 4-car pack here, working underneath the 44 of Sean Rogers, as Rogers hanging on right now to 8th position. Bobby Anderson hasn't given up the lead yet. 15 laps in the books, 15 laps as our race leader. He's bringing along Derek Heitman, who's crawled up from 3rd position, worked his way into 2nd, and Randy Belk in 3rd. Mike McCondo running in 4th with Matt DiCianni rounding out the top 5. But those top 4 cars, now they're starting to eat up into the lap car realm. And mysteriously, RJ Root here in the 7 is hanging out with Ken Ron. It looks like, I think they started intentionally on pit road, and it's supposed to be the 70. It's supposed to be the 7, not the 77 of RJ Root. But RJ, listen, you're going to see this guy, and you're going to hear me call his name a lot this year, Alan. He is probably one of the most talented people that you're going to see on the SNN shows this year.
Yeah, RJ Root, we saw glimpses of that at Daytona also, but the guy that I'm watching this season, and I'm calling my shot, and that's Ron Fitting. He showed, especially on these restrictor plate racetracks, that he is class of the field.
Ron Fitting right now running in 26th position from Sumter, South Carolina, in the 3 machine, trying to do old Dale proud. As right now running, back here in 28th position. It's still stage number 1, and of course we do have stage racing, as these are full-length races here in the Cup Series. 260 total laps the scheduled distance. Stage 1 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 60. Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap 160. 9 tire sets. So you can go just about 30 to 35 laps on a set of tires, give or take a little bit if you're able to save. At a place like this, we used to say that it would chew up your tires just like a cheese grater, but since the repave, this place has acted a lot more like a super speedway than anything else.
Yeah, I cannot wait until 4 or 5 years down the road. I miss the old Atlanta though, Dave. With the cars sliding around.
Around that dive into turn 1 where there was a dip. Woof.
Yes.
If you were in a full motion rig, you'd pee yourself. 3 wide. If you were in a full motion rig, you'd pee your seat.
I'm not. Good thing I'm stationary in my wood, home built one that I made out of leftover lumber from a sawhorse.
My God! The race leader just got taken out. Bobby Anderson is around. Oh! And let the mayhem ensue. Let's see what happened. My God. Just as we're sitting here calmly looking at the race leader who was being challenged by Derek Heitman, we see Heitman here give him a shove. It wasn't perfect, and boom goes the proverbial dynamite. Our race leader out of the race. Oh, that's going to be ugly. We're going to take a look here from the nose of Derek Heitman. Here's Derek Heitman just behind race leader. Here comes the bump out of 2. You can't bump in the turn. Heitman gets to drive along, but unfortunately, our race leader just got eliminated from tonight's race for sure. Let's see if we can pull him up here. Going to look right here from Bobby Anderson from probably his gearbox, as here's going to be the bump from Heitman, and there he goes. And just pandemonium. One of these next drivers, Hey, we're going to see if we can pull this up. As we're going to see here from the exit of 2. Oh, there it goes. Well, that's going to make it a little bit of a change, as many of the drivers coming down pit road. Looks like Sean Rogers, Derek Heitman, Randy Belk, Mike McConville, Nolan Hodgson, Alex Murray, Jeff Carson, and Michael Witt all came down pit road. However, Mark Johnston, Richard Pruitt, Skip Gandy, Tyler Sexton, and Eric Papineau, your top 5, they all stayed out, along with Kevin Zosiak, Anthony Savinano. Bobby Anderson now creeping back around here in 7th. I feel like Bobby Anderson took a little bit too hard of a hit to still be out here, as we don't have fast repairs. We're going to look one more time, as we're going to see if we can. Maybe he skated away from this.
Maybe
he gets the bump from the 76. You know what? He might be sort of okay. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means that we'll be going back green flag racing this time by as we pass the blue cone of pit road's exit. Going to be Johnston, Pruitt, Gandy, Sexton, and Papineau, your top 5. They'll be followed by Zosiak, Savignano, Anderson, Fitting, and Kelly. or here in Philadelphia, somebody would take that double L and turn it into a W somehow, and it's Sean Kelly. I don't understand. I've never had a Joey donut. I know a guy named Joey, but I've never had a Joey donut.
Man. Jelly donut.
As much as I love the city of Philadelphia, I just hate our accent.
I kind of dig it, though.
No, it's not that great. I work very hard to cover up Pennsylvania Dutch. As Mark Johnston going to watch the pace car peel down pit road, hit the Geico restart zone, he drops the hammer, and we're back underway on lap 24. Johnston being overtaken almost instantly by Pruitt and Tyler Sexton as Sexton drops right down in front of Johnston. Now he and Pruitt are going to have to battle it out here for the lead as they are side by side. The 24 of Richard Pruitt waiting for some kind of help. Help about to be coming in the form of what looks like Bobby Anderson and the 36 of Kevin Zasiak as he's going to draft up to the rear here of the 24. So this little three-car pack either is going to stick together or nope. All of a sudden, Pruitt dives down and gives room now to Zasiak and Anderson.
Yes, Zasiak and Anderson battling out pretty hard right now. And, after being caught up in that wreck, he's got a long way to go. And, 260 laps is still a long way to get there. But, he's going to have to battle out pretty hard.
Skip Gandy in the 68 here has been loose for the last couple of laps. We're going to see if it's just maybe the air in front of him disturbing him, as maybe he's just that loose in the draft, as he's flirting with disaster himself right here, trailing just behind Anderson once again, as we're riding along with Skip Gandy out of Stafford, Virginia. And you can hear those RPMs pick up just a little bit as we get to the end of the straightaway on the backstretch. There's Anderson on the high side. We can see him. If I was the 76, I'd be terrified to be out of the racetrack. But the 68 here of Skip Gandy all over the road.
Yeah, I'm terrified, and I'm not even racing out there. But I did do a couple of races here at Atlanta in different cars, during the day too, Dave. And, I got to tell you that it is tough not to go below that red line.
Oh, that I believe. As we take a look here, track temperature just 105 degrees, so it's only down 1 degree. Once you get above that 100 mark, that century line, that's when you start to see a lot of the grip start to go out of the racetrack, but it also makes for some fast and loose racing. And, kind of like the fair gender, fast and loose is sometimes the most fun.
Fast and loose it is. You're almost dirt tracking it around the racetrack there. Whenever you're whenever fast and loose also. But fast and loose is what I was at the casino last night. I went to the local gambling establishment and did not fare so well. I took the walk of shame afterwards.
Watching Richard Pruitt here, still in the 24. Kevin Zasiak, your new race leader. He's being followed now by Bobby Anderson. Maybe Anderson wants to push instead of be pushed for a while after that last incident. Maybe he's trying to creep around here. But I see Anderson really trying to hug as close as he can without touching that bumper. What I think was the real impetus of that caution that Anderson was wrapped up in was just simply being pushed on turn exit. Unless you have some kind of communication that says, I'm going to come up that close on exit, you really shouldn't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, David. You don't want to get a bad bump going into one of these turns. Because, like we said at Daytona, the Toyotas really don't line up with the Chevys, and the Chevys really don't line up with the Toyotas all that much. Nor do the Fords line up with anybody.
This whole field is double file. We got to a point during the last run where we had, some different packs and so on and so forth. But this whole field is double file. I can't even begin to believe this. Less than a second between first and 15th.
That is crazy. less than a second. And, we have 28 laps left in the stage, too. So, I mean, I think the intensity level is going to pick up as we, get closer and closer to the end of stage 1.
Well, and as I had mentioned, those bonus points going to be playing a major factor. I mean, there were some drivers, as I was putting the information into our graphics program, I'm working through it driver by driver, and I thought, gee, they only had the one, I forget who it was, but they had more bonus points than they did finishing points because they finished terribly but had done well at the end of a couple of stages. So they were able to use those bonus points to springboard here at the end and maybe not be as awful as they thought they were. Taking a look right now at the 90. Let's see here. Can't figure out who the 90 is. That's somebody with the wrong paint scheme. We'll take a peek at Chris Claude running here in 19th position. Ron Fitting, your pick of the litter tonight, running in 19th after he started in 38th. The biggest move of the night right now, Sean Kelly at plus 42. It's not even possible.
Anything's possible, Dave.
Obviously, timing and scoring is drinking. Oh, getting loose here at the lead again. Oh, boy. Let's take a look at the pit strategy here for the top 10. As we can see, Kevin Zosiak on those original tires from the initial green flag start. Nolan Hodgson and Sean Rogers each have 13 laps. And then you've got 3 drivers, Kelly, Anderson, and Sexton, who all are on their original set of tires. So obviously, we're looking at this, and we can pretty much decipher one thing. Tires don't mean everything. If Zosiak can lead this piece on those original tires, he's fine. Look, that's 21 laps older than Hodgson. So grip not that much of a factor at this speed as we work our way around Atlanta Motor Speedway. I'm Dave Riegel, and he's Alan Bergen. Here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, you're watching the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media. We'll be right back as we're going to go NASCAR side-by-side right here on SRM.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, one 34, one 25, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive, you know, what was gonna happen with my wife, my kids, and, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out, also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and, you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Riegel and Alan Bergen with you, working lap number 48, about 12 laps this time by at the flag stand to the end of stage number 1. Kevin Zosiak, your race leader as we speak, while Nolan Hodgson, Sean Rogers, and Derek Heitman are lined up all behind him, with Bobby Anderson, your former race leader, just behind. Don't look now, though. The 76 of, where did he go? Just dropped off my timing screen. That's never a good sign. Derek Heitman. Now, of course, Heitman had just recently gotten into the rear of the 18 of Bobby Anderson. They're now side by side on the racetrack. I don't think that we're going to see Anderson try to retaliate at all, but you never know, especially as you're coming down to the closing laps of a stage, while you're watching the guy who just took you out from the race lead all of a sudden now working his way up into 4th position, being timed 4. He gets a shove from the double deuce of Alex Murray as Murray pushes Heitman into turn 3, and now they roll out of turn 4 with Heitman being timed in 3rd alongside of Nolan Hodgson just behind Kevin Zosiak.
So, you know, to your point there too, Dave, you know, yeah, he may not retaliate. Oh, as we got a car around.
One
we
is
are immediately
around,
under.
I think that this time it was Bobby Anderson again. I hope not, for his sake. Let's see what's
It
going
wasn't
on.
Bobby.
Now, Bobby was involved in it, though, I can tell you that. As I'm looking back here. Here's Bobby Anderson in the 18. We'll see what happens. He's got McConville in tow. McConville drops to the low side. Oh, almost in the exact same way. Watch the 12 of Nolan Hodgson giving the shove. Let's see if we can see that again. Now watch the 12 with the 36. Just almost the exact same way that happened with Anderson.
Yeah, so, you know, as I was going to say before we went under caution there, though, is, you know, Bobby Anderson wasn't, I don't think he was going to pay him back, but he could have made it extremely difficult to get around him. He might race him a little bit harder than he normally would, you know, had everything not gone that way. But now,
cannot be happy.
no, Zaziak cannot be happy right now with any of that just went down. As we got multiple cars on pit road, so we got about 53 laps on the tires right now, and we still got a short run to the end of the stage too. We got about 8 laps to the end of stage 1 there.
Sean Kelly, Matt DiCiani, and Tyler Sexton all on their original tires from when the green flag flew. Heitman, Murray, Nolan Hodgson, Mike McConville, and RJ Root all with fresher-ish tires as we're on lap number 53. So as it stands right now, we're 7 laps from the end of stage number 1. Here's going to be the guessing game. Do you dip down and try to take a set of tires now if you're one of the drivers who didn't do it earlier? Or do you stick this out because you never know if you're going to need tires later on in the race, barring, late race mayhem, if you will?
It's funny because I watched the real life race today. And
Hodgson doing the old fakeroony as well. It looks like he's going to be shuffled to the rear of the field as he's going to be charged at the end of that wreck.
yeah, man, I mean, coming to the end of the stage though. I think I waited out until the end of the stage maybe, and then because we got 100 laps.
You've got a couple of people that disagree with you. Tanner, Marty Cavaja, Holt, Richard Pruitt, Brian Tarnowski, Ken Ron, Nolan Hodgson, Eric Papineau, Chris Davis, and Dalton Mobley all came down pit road. That's kind of strange. I'd probably side with you right now.
I think this is the first time we agree on something tonight.
Taking a look at our YouTube.com live chat Dcash videos, Dave. Oh, and it looks like Alexander was telling me that you had him. Nice. Spread Thin Hobbies says, Skip Gandy, here we go. Callie H cheering on Nolan Hodgson. Virgo 22 Dex. Why'd I get kicked? Not sure. Not even sure who that is. I was third of a non-chartered in qualifying. I'm not sure. You'd have to check with Chris. Amanda Price cheering on Sean Rogers as Jay Puretto cheering on Sean Kelly. The Bender family is cheering on Sean Kelly. So plenty of activity here. Glad to have all of you with us tonight as we're working lap number 54. The iRacing.com pace car makes the hard left turn down pit road. Tighten up those belts and let's get to the end of stage 1.
Dave is looking into the future, but Derek Heitman is bringing the field down into turn number 1. He's got Alex Murray right into Mike McConville there on the inside looking to get something going there as they come out of turn 2. And here comes that number 23 car.
Derek Heitman being shoved down the backstretch by Alex Murray in the double deuce. Mike McConville in the ace. That Chevrolet being pushed down out of turn 3 by RJ Root. These 4 drivers at top here, atop this pile. We're going to hear those names all season long. You know, Heitman has been incredibly competitive the last couple of weeks, you know, from, our first night there at the Clash in the LA Coliseum all the way through Speed Weeks at Daytona. Now, all of a sudden, RJ Root starting to slip back through the field. We're not sure why. Alex Princeton, and tell me that's the Caribou Coffee. I think that's the Caribou Coffee.
That looks like Caribou Coffee.
Well, let's see, because that was the first. I told the story before that I remember when Alex Princeton first came into this league, and I thought, who's this guy in a Caribou Coffee paint scheme? Coming out of nowhere, blowing the doors off of everybody, because I saw him drive past me like I was standing still. I don't remember what track it was. I just remember Caribou Coffee. That will stick with me forever. So talk about good advertisement here on Sim Racing Media.
Yes, we're 3 laps away from the end of stage 1. And Dave, you told me to watch a few drivers, right? You told me to watch RJ Root. You told me at the Clash even to watch Alex Murray all year long. And you said
we're
that
under caution. I hate to cut you off, but
field.
we're under caution. That's going to end stage 1. Derek Heitman going to be your stage 1 winner, followed by Alex Murray, Mike McConville, Alex Prince, and Michael Witt, RJ Root, Skip Gandy, Matt DiCiani, Ricky Williams, and Tyler Sexton. They'll all be awarded bonus points here. Let's take a look back and see real quick. I'm sorry for having to cut you off, but sometimes, whoa, getting a nudge from Brian Tarnowski is the 20 of Patrick Gitter, and Gitter goes around. Let's see if I can get Tarnowski up here on the cam. As there's Gitter taking it maybe a little bit too close, and Tarnowski just nudges him out of the way.
Move or be moved?
Let's see if we can find that from the drone cam once more. Yeah, Gitter went 3 wide and had no business up there. There was no reason to go 3 wide. So Tarnowski more so going, listen, pal, it's not really Tarnowski's fault. You didn't belong up there in the first place.
True.
I'll defend Brian all day.
With good reason, because, I don't think Brian did anything wrong. He's in the right spot at the wrong time.
No, not at all. So as we're going to get set here for stage number 2, that's going to shuffle the field around like a deck of cards, as Richard Pruitt and Anthony Savinano going to be 1 and 2 with Ron Fitting starting in P3. Chris Davis going to be in 4th with Kavaja Holt making up the top 5. Derek Heitman and Alex Murray in 6th and 7th. Brian Tarnowski going to be restarting in 8th, while Mike McConville and Alex Brinson in the number 19 Caribou Coffee Machine going to be rounding out our top 10 as we get ready for stage number 2. And it's going to be a long stage, as we had mentioned earlier on here. Of course, stage 2 going to end at lap 160, and then we go to the end of this race at 260 total laps. So basically this and stage 3 going to each be 100 laps.
Yep. So you got the 60 lap run, and now we're getting ready for the first of 200 lap runs here. So now we essentially got 200 laps to go. And, checking the YouTube chat, Aaron Max is the best Caribou Coffee place in Minnesota. So,
well, the next time I happen to be trolling through Minnesota, I'll check it out, Aaron. I'm not often through the Twin Cities. But I'll tell you what, Aaron Mack at least had my favorite paint scheme of the year last year with Harbor Freight. Of course, purveyors of fine tools and things that hopefully you don't want to use in a safe situation. Listen, no word of a lie. I love Harbor Freight. I love going over there, picking up something that I need. It's literally across the street from the property that I work at. But the scariest moment I ever had was with a right angle grinder. I was like 19 trying to grind down the top of a steel door. And I'm up there with a Chicago Electric right angle grinder from Harbor Freight, 4-inch with a 4-inch disc on it. And out of nowhere, the nut that holds it onto the tool itself came off, and the wheel went spinning down the hallway like a disc of death. Thank God there was nobody around. Somebody could have died.
Well, You know, it went wrong when you used a tool that had the word Chicago on it. But nonetheless, the 90 car or the 24 car of Richard Pruitt looking to make the Chicago Wheel of Death as he takes the field down in the third one. Boy.
Not so fast, my friend, would say Coach Corso, as we're already under caution for reasons I'm not quite sure of.
Maybe the
I think
The
they
flagman
just
did
called
not.
the stage.
oh, maybe our math isn't mathing tonight.
It was an automatic caution thrown by software for the stage.
Mm.
So hopefully they can shorten this SOB up and get us back racing.
I will tell you this though, Dave. I am going to Minnesota, and I'll go to the USA Nationals in Cedar Lake Speedway at New Richmond, Wisconsin. So I may or may not cross the border of Minnesota. So if I do, I'll be on the look for some Caribou coffee, and I will mail it to you.
I would appreciate that. I really would. I'm currently on a Death Wish coffee kick. It was suggested to me, and Rebecca said that I should try it, and I said, no, I'm good. And then it went on sale because it's expensive as all get out. And when it went on sale, I couldn't resist. I thought, okay, here we go. And she, for the 849th time, was correct. Can't really say I'm surprised that she was correct because it happens more often than not.
There are shirts out there that says, my wife and Google know everything. Nonetheless, though, we're back under caution here on lap 63, and Richard Pruitt has controlled the field with Ron Fitting hot on his tails here. And Anthony Savania the third is back there in E3. So, nonetheless, we are under caution again for the stage. So, as we're going to get these guys relined up, restacked up, and okay, good. Right. Which is like crack. Nonetheless, though, we're starting to get these guys lined back up here and getting ready for this restart. So right now,
As we get ready to restack here, of course, that was a software problem that we experienced now that the iRacing.com pace car lights are going to go out. It's going to be Pruitt and Fitting, Savignano, Holt, Davis, Murray, Heitman, Princeton, DiCiani, and McConville, your top five. And, these drivers up here, they've spent the time practicing to get to where they are. We're going to see some really defensive driving, here in stage number 2, because at this point now you've got to be thinking, if I can get through 2, defend where I'm at, then we can get a little bit more aggressive in 3, and rather than stay where I'm at, now I can try to advance that position in stage 3.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Now Richard Pruitt, Ron Fitting, those guys, they have to play defense here. As we're watching their field come down the back straightaway at a 60-mile-an-hour crawl, essentially, to the Geico restart zone, and the iRacing.com lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car. Shameless plug. But nonetheless, so now those guys like RJ Root, Sean Kelly, Patrick Gitter, Randy Belk, the back half of the field. They're pretty much buried, and they got 100 laps. They get themselves unburied here by the end of stage 2. But nonetheless, Richard Pruitt's going to bring the field down to the Geico restart zone here. And we are back underway here from Atlanta. And Richard Pruitt gets out to a major jump over in Anthony Savignano.
Like deja vu all over again. All of a sudden we see the restart, but this time we stay green as Pruitt jumps out. I got to be honest with you, Alan. That kind of spells trouble to me if you're going to allow that much space between you and Fitting.
Yeah, you don't want to allow too much space here, especially on a super speedway-esque track. And I'm using air quotes right now when I say super
speedway-esque. I like that. That could catch on. Super speedway-esque. Of course, most fans of NASCAR, including the two of us, would still have to look up what esque means.
It means like a super speedway.
Akin to. Everybody knows what kinfolk are we in the South.
Here comes Richard Pruitt. Here comes Richard Pruitt on the inside.
Forgive me, folks. I'm here behind the curtain, just kind of poking at my broadcast partner, loosening things up as Kavaja Holt leads this piece, being pushed along by Alex Murray in the double deuce. Alex Murray and Kavaja Holt Kavaja Holt are a duo that we're going to see time and time again, as now Kavaja working the low side here, sliding back into third position, watches Chris Davis steal away second, while Alex Murray in the double deuce hops himself out here to the lead in the... Oh, there they go!
We knew this was going to happen.
And boom goes the dynamite. All of a sudden, a connection issue here at the same time, while everybody tried to pay attention. Maybe at the wrong time. And there's the touch from Ron Fitting. And just not a good day for them.
That's a tough break for Ron Fitting.
So another caution. This one for cause again. We've had one caution for the stage officially. 4 cautions for cause. 5 cautions in the first stage and 10 laps.
I mean, yeah.
But who's counting?
Who's counting? Right. Who's counting? I'm not counting.
Taking a look here. And Aaron Mack, you are so correct. Death Wish coffee is like crack. I like to say that it's coffee mixed with cocaine. I usually can drink an entire pot of coffee from the start to finish of my workday. I got through half a pot of Death Wish coffee and suddenly thought that I had like some type of nervous system disorder. I wouldn't have trusted me to do any brain surgery work. Because if I was operating on a brain with shaky hands, you'd have been drinking your food from a straw for the rest of your life.
Oh, man. Dave, you ready to go to English class?
Go for it.
All right. The suffix "esque" means like or resembling. You can add "esque" to almost any noun, including proper nouns, to use restraint. Too many esque words in the same passage may seem too clumsy when repetitive. Don't pile on redundant suffixes that mean the same thing as esque. Like picturesque.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Hang out with Uncle Dave and Uncle Alan, as we'll have more useless information for you throughout the season. It's only week number 2, and we've already taken an English lesson from a guy who barely has control of the language in the first place. I mean, like taking art lessons from Ray Charles. It's fine.
We're on lap 71, under the 5th caution. Oh, man.
Alan just said, no, let's just go back to the race. That one was cool. Okay. So, lap number 71 here. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out. Alex Murray with control of the field this time around. Kavaja Holt going to be his front row partner. Chris Davis and Anthony Savigiano are going to be right behind him with Richard Pruitt restarting in 5th. Alex Princeton in 6th. Mike McConville, Skip Gandy, Michael Witt, and Chris Claude going to be in the top 10. As after that mess, Chris Claude, Mr. Consistency, is going to have crept his way here into the top 10.
We still got a long way to go in stage 2. We're under the 5th caution of the evening here. So, nonetheless, we're going to get ready to come back to the green flag as lights are out on the iRacing.com base car. Coming down the back straightaway, Alex Murray on the point. Kavaja Holt there on the outside in that 00 car. And we are getting ready to go back to green as they creep through turn number 3 here in Atlanta, Hampton, Georgia. Here we go. I hope you guys are having as much fun
out
as
of
they've
turn
been.
number 4. The iRacing.com pace car going to peak below that red line. Alex Murray going to creep just ahead of Kavaja Holt, but not too far. As he hits the Geico restart zone, his foot's going to mash through the floor, and we're going to get back to racing. Alex Murray going to get a nice jump pushed along gently by Chris Davis, as it's almost like this is synchronized swimming at 190 miles per hour. You know, oh, and 3 wide, all of a sudden, the 24 of Richard Pruitt being shuffled back through the field. He's got McConville on the low side, Holt on the high side, the 90 of Savignano now on his high side, as Pruitt just wanted to desperately get behind McConville and out of the line of fire. Obviously, the restart did not do him any favors.
I don't think that anybody told these guys that they were still over, 150 something laps in the stage there. But nonetheless, Alex Murray got that outside line working really well with them. And it's one of those guys that you pointed out that I should watch all season long. And Mike McConville, he's a guy that I would want behind me right now, pushing me on that inside line if someone can get down there and get the help from him.
As Mike McConville here leads the 24, and my partner now has to get himself recomposed. Again, I'm a dirty boy standing behind the curtain just whispering dumb things all night long just to keep everything loose as a goose. McConville working the low side of Skip Gandy. He's about to be overtaken by R.J. Root, though. He's going to take a bump here, but not necessarily the bump like you usually see just below us in Florida. Takes a bump from the 24 of Richard Pruitt. Now, if only Richard Pruitt could replicate that time and time again, but he needs some help there, and that help's going to come in the form of Michael Witt. As Witt here in the 78, trying to get up to the rear of the 24, Bristol, Tennessee's very own Michael Witt, obviously an Atlanta Braves fan. I'm sorry for his luck. I'd say it's a nice-looking picture right up until you see that A right on the hat. Unless maybe he's a fan of the Fonz and it's just supposed to be there going, A.
No, that's definitely the Atlanta A. Womp, womp, womp.
I like that.
Horn.
I like that 70s logo that they used for a while. It was just like a lowercase a. It almost looked like the @ sign that we use in everything today.
Yeah.
It made it look like they were just like, I don't know, fuzzy and happy.
Hey, look. Nothing against the Braves. They were great in the 90s. In the mid.
No, you can't say nothing against the Braves. They ruined my childhood. Every time the Braves came to town, you might as well have ticked off 3 losses because they had 2 great Hall of Fame pitchers and they had an amazing Hall of Fame third baseman. No, we don't just say no. Bad, Alan.
As I get the virtual smack on the nose, Alex Murray is smacking the field right now. And he's got Chris Davis right behind him. Here on lap 78.
Can you think about this, Alan? they had John Smoltz, Greg Maddox, and Chipper Jones.
That was your core. That's what they built the team around.
Yeah. And Bobby Valentine in the dugout. Look, they would come to Philadelphia, and all of a sudden the vet would be empty because nobody was wasting their time or money to go down to South Philadelphia to watch the Phillies get spanked like a bad kid in the backyard.
Very true. Very true. I mean, the Phillies had some good players back in the.
That was the problem. We had Kurt Schilling, Pat Burrell, Mike Lieberthal as the backstop behind the plate, my favorite player. Aaron Rowan, Dougie Glanville, but they couldn't beat that core group of players from Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true. Hey, look. So I tell people all the time, you got your team, right? Like, there's people in St. Louis that are Cardinals fans, but there are people that are baseball fans, right? So my favorite pitcher was actually Kurt Schilling for the longest time. He was.
Now he's been posted.
And then now, when Madison Baumgartner was good, and striking everybody out, Randy Johnson was the pinnacle of pitching back in the mid to late 90s, and
there goes McConville.
And we have the big one. We have a Waffle House brewing here.
Waffle House. It looks more like the Waffle House bathroom. There's crap everywhere.
And that is caution number 6 on the day. If you're a McConville, you did not want that to be smothered, covered in chops. Become caution.
We're going to take a run back here and see if we can find McConville and what might have happened. Because, of course, all of a sudden iRacing decided to throw up. It was just an accordion. They said, and a 1, and a 2, and a, wow, here we go. Anybody from South Dakota, of course, knows the famous voice of one Lawrence Welk. Available from senior citizens televisions everywhere on your local PBS station. And somehow they still have support from viewers like you. Thank you. Oh, a game crashed. One of the drivers had a crash.
And it seems that a lot of people are going to be coming down pit road.
Well, that's going to make things different here. After they finished mopping up the floor of the Waffle House, I'm looking to see where some of these drivers might have dropped off and disappeared to, as it looks like Chris Claude coming off of pit road, as well as, McConville is back out on the track. Alex Murray down on pit road. Alexander Gangler and Jeff Carson are now coming off. That cycles Richard Pruitt up to the lead. He's going to be followed by Ken Ron and Chris Davis, your top 3. Top 4 and 5 going to be Kavaja Holt and R.J. Root, as all of this mess happened just behind them. And, you don't like to see those things happen anywhere, but especially toward the front of the race, because now we're dealing with just 20 cars on the lead lap at this point. Mike McConville would be your lucky dog if we get a quick caution here. So things maybe not working in the favor of some of the drivers here on track.
I wouldn't think so. As checking in the YouTube chat right now, it says Aaron Mack says, looks like an Applebee's meeting is coming. Hey, look, I like Applebee's as much as the next guy.
Haley is in the YouTube.com live chat saying this is the 5th caution. This is now 6, sorry. She needs Alex Murray to win this thing and come watch TV with me. Haley, I don't know how to tell you this, but there's only one other way that he can finish this up quickly. And I don't want to tell you what to do, but it has to do with a power cord and perhaps a hammer. Alex Murray currently running in 18th position. He's got a shot here, Concord, North Carolina. Obviously being beckoned by his lady to get back and watch TV. Of course, it's a Sunday night. Yvette McNabb saying, wow, that wasn't smart payback, Aaron Mack. And Applebee's meeting is coming. Big Mac saying he loves wasting his Sunday nights. Idiots have no idea what they're doing. And it's Mike McConville. I'm going to allow that because he's from New Jersey. And New Jersey has enough problems.
Especially their parking. Holy
New Jersey
cow.
is the only state in the union that, first off, has the audacity to call their swamps gardens. Number 2, they're also the only state in the union that elects a governor and hates them within 20 minutes of the final results coming in.
True. But nonetheless, here, Richard Pruitt on the inside line there, as we are coming down the back straight here at lap number 86, working our way to lap 87 in this one, and Chris Davis handedly in the lead here, but Ken Ron there in that 33 car, he's up 46 spots from where he started from.
Oh, there goes Kavaja down below. Don't go! God, he went back high.
And that is caution number 7.
And of course, it's all happening at a point where the computer has a seizure. And there's Chris Davis just trotting away. I'm fine. Everything's fine. Now, for Haley's benefit, let's see if things got bad enough for Alex Murray in the double deuce.
I mean, everything on the car looks great.
Here's riding along with Alex Murray crossing the start-finish line. He managed... Oh, well, this is confusing as all get out. We don't even know if he came out clean on the other side. No. Yes.
Oh, he did.
He did. I guess we should start having a warning that, especially on huge race fields like this, that, if you have a seizure condition, you shouldn't watch a wreck.
We're going to put this out there.
Haley, he's going to be a little bit longer now.
If you are susceptible to seizures, heart problems, or migraines, you should probably not watch SRM right now during the caution period.
Wrecks like that will give you a migraine.
Imagine what they've gone through in the sim rig, though. Unfortunately, my esteemed broadcast partner Dave is out of Angel's Bourbon.
No, we're on flight beer tonight.
Okay, we're
from the
flying with...
from the rolling hills of Pottsville, Pennsylvania. It's Yingling Flight, introduced back in 2020 after 6 generations of brewers put their heads together. They came up with the perfectly engineered craft beer, and it's delicious.
I love it. Here at lap 89, we are 89 laps out of 260 laps here at Atlanta, Georgia, and we have a whole host of cars on pit road. Papano is on pit road right now. Ganglers, Savannah, Pruitt's on pit road. Carson's on pit road at number 9 Toyota. Matt Medler, who effectively been on pit road. Well, he's been on pit road since the start of the race. So, nonetheless, looks like Holt's on pit road, Mobley's on pit road, Marty's on pit road, Harrington's on pit road, Johnson's on pit road, Belk is on pit road.
Well, might as well get comfortable. 7 cautions and 90 laps. Chris Davis, your race leader. He's going to be followed by Ken Ron, RJ Root, Alex Princeton, Tane Hodison, Rich Jett, Brian Tarnowski, Alex Murray, Skip Gandy, and Timothy Cook, your top 10. So, Haley, if you're paying attention, your man's still up there racing around. Jeremiah Mullins is not wrong. Xfinity is probably one of the most exciting leagues that we have here in the SNN family of racing, and of course here on SRM. The field is definitely thinning out, though. It's thinning out like... Never mind.
Well, I do have a receipt, Caroline, so we can go. We can make a joke
I was going
about
to say
our
that the field is thinning out like Monica Lewinsky on Jenny Craig.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm here to entertain and inform. You see, kids, Monica Lewinsky in 1997 was the first person to get caught doing something really bad in the White House.
We're
And
coming back
no.
to green. Chris Davis and Ken Ron on the front row. The guy restart though. We are underway. RJ Root there in the 7 car. Gonna jump out along with Chris Davis there and get the whole shot going into turn number 1. We got 34 more weeks of this stuff to go.
As we watch RJ Root and the 74 of Chris Davis chase one another down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4, they roll out of 4 with a full head of steam between themselves and Ken Ron here on the low side. If those two drivers can keep themselves linked up together, they can work as a 2-car tandem. We saw that a lot during the Car of Tomorrow era, and of course we saw a lot of that when the Xfinity cars were updated. But now Ken Ron getting a run to the rear of Rich Jett in the double natural, that 77 machine, leading the 77 of Rich Jett now. All of a sudden, the 7 of RJ Root under attack as we close the gap just behind. That's Tane Hodison in what should be the 93. Almost a Wood Brothers paint scheme there, if you will.
Here comes the 7 car. Root to the lead, and he's going to bring Tane Hodgson with him. As Chris Davis is going to fall back a line.
Oh!
And
around goes Ken Ron. Oh, and that time it was involving Alex Murray. Let the screaming begin. As we see Murray getting a run here on Ken Ron, he goes to the high side. Ron doesn't see him there, drifts up in front of him, and boom goes the proverbial dynamite. Looks like it doesn't do too much damage here, at least from that perspective. Let's go to Ken Ron and see if we can find that replay stock. As they didn't slow all the way down. But here goes Ron. He's going to drift up the racetrack right here. And around he goes. Fortunately, doesn't collect anybody else. Ken Ron just stays put right in front of the 22. There's Chris Claude locking him up. He's already driving a semi-modified car here on the apron, so Chris Claude avoiding further calamity to the 10. That's going to get us into a new round of pit cycles here on lap number 95. So while everybody gets themselves racked, stacked, and ready to roll again, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to beat a late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, and I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive, you know, what was gonna happen with my wife, my kids, and, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out, also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, telling me to be thankful, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway, where that commercial break when we went NASCAR side-by-side was just as long as the entire green flag run that we had. Came back from caution, went to commercial, and here we are. We're going to take a look and see just what happened behind this mess, as it looks like this might have been involving Randall Watkins here in the 27. Looks like Ken Ron came down the track. Watkins just nicked him, and bad things happen. We'll see if we can find this one more way, as we'll go right to the nose of Randall Watkins. There he is, just nudging him. He thought he had it until he didn't, and the 27 goes right into the wall. And the real mess happened above him, so we'll see what happened with Bobby Anderson, who once again was involved in this wreck. As we see Bobby Anderson getting through, he thought he had it, and just as he was trying to recover, he catches the 36, and then Alexander Gangler in the 8, and coming mercifully to a rest here at the entrance of turn 1.
Well, Candy is going to, we come back to the live picture here, a ninth caution, technically 8th caution for cause. We had one caution on, lap 63, and that was the stage caution there. But nonetheless, we got some guys going to come down pit road.
Skip Gandy going to be your new race leader. He last came down pit road on lap 88. So he's going to keep the 68 out here atop the pile. He's going to be followed by R.J. Root, Chris Davis, Eric Papineau, Jeff Carson in the 9, Tane Hodison in the 6, and Alex Brinson in the 19. Good news, though, for Haley, as it looks like Alex Murray may still be up there. He is still out here on the racetrack, so maybe not good news for Haley, as the Double Deuce still turning laps. Looks like he's struggling, though, so it gets ever closer for the young lady cheering on Alex Murray.
These guys are all sorts of getting sorted out here. we get ready to get doubled up here for the restart. Skip Gandy going to be in control of the field with RJ Root to his outside. And, this becomes a game of survival. Now that we're 108 laps in, and we've under a nice caution, now you're going to start to see attrition come into a factor.
Look at you using the big words again. I'm proud of you. You could be like Jim Rome, arugula.
Hey, I do what I can.
Or maybe pull out your Stephen A. Preposterous.
What's preposterous is the fact that we are going back to grade here.
I thought preposterous was an animal at the zoo.
We're back on our green flag racing.
Skip Gandy takes the green flag. He's going to be followed by RJ Root and Chris Davis, Eric Papineau, and Jeff Carson. Here's the thing. I'm looking at these 10 cars that are left on the lead lap right now. And out of those 10 cars, I see some heavy hitters in this league. Kavaja Holt, he's bringing up the rear of that top 10. That's a driver you can never count out. Alexander Gangler is a survivor. He will sit here and plow through as best he can to finish this piece out. Jeff Carson, he's a setup wizard and at the same time a driver who, unless he gets damaged, will be here at the end. Alex Brinson, same way. Chris Davis and RJ Root. And I'll tell you what, if I was Skip Gandy, I'd be the most scared person out here. RJ Root is in my rearview mirror. He's going to pass me and serve me lunch right on the way past as he gives a bump to Skip going into 3, and RJ is just that good. We watch him back off after giving that little bit of a bump draft to Skip, and he knows just when to get off and just when to get back on. He's going to come and push him right through. Perfect timing through the quad oval going into turns 1 and 2. We see him once again backing off here in turn 1 and 2. Basically, he's not backing off as much as he's reloading. And now on exit out of 2, here comes RJ again. Slider bump, and moves back down the backstretch. Once again, gets off the throttle, burps it just enough, and it's almost like watching a slinky just move gracefully underwater almost. He is just perfect timing every step of the way here on lap number 112 of 260.
Lap 112 of 260. We're about 52 laps left in the stage. 48 laps left in the stage 2. As Skip Gandy, like you said, has been in control of this field. And, you got to think about it like this, too. I mean, these guys are, just surviving, trying to beat the odds right now.
Here they go once again. That's the 93. We have another caution on the track. Caution number 10 is Timothy Cook, Alex Murray involved in this one.
And that one.
Watch the double deuce here of Alex Murray as he's going to, and knocks the front nose clip off of the double deuce.
That one might send him to the couch.
Oh! He's going for a ride to the infield care center right now. Who in the world is that down there? Was that the 69? I don't even know who that was. Let's see if we can zoom in here.
Looks like 23 there. Got into him just a little bit. The 09. Well, I tell you this right now, though. We are under the 10th caution. Ninth caution for cause. We have one caution at lap 63 for the stage break, and that red.
We're riding along with Timothy Cook right now. He's the driver that just ended the night here for what potentially would end the night here for Alex Murray. Alex Murray just dropped down and that's not fun. Timothy Cook out of Del Rio may have just sent Alex Murray to the infield care center.
I think the Jarvis 09 card is going to get a Christmas card from Hallie there.
I definitely don't think he's going to be getting one from Alex.
No, but there is the better half, though. We're back live here. So now, Timothy Cook is on pit road. Michael Witt's coming off pit road. Alex Gangler. Man. I mean, did someone tell them that Bristol's in a couple weeks and not hear it?
No, I don't think they got the memo.
Okay.
We're still not even at 160 yet, and we're 10 cautions. 9 for cause.
Nonetheless, though, we are getting doubled back up here. RJ Root there in the 7. I'm sure a few of these guys are going to need to go visit a Caliber Collision pretty soon. And then there was 11 on the lead lap.
So as we get ready to go back green flag racing, it's going to be Skip Gandy, RJ Root, Alex Princeton, Tane Hodison, Eric Papineau, Kavaja Holt, Chris Davis, Jeff Carson, Alexander Gangler, Michael Witt, and Timothy Cook. 11 cars on the lead lap. Looks like Alex Murray has officially put it on the hauler, so he'll be joining Haley to watch TV. I hope it's something good. It's either that or he's about to tune into The Bachelor or Real Housewives or something, so let's hope it's something entertaining. And to be fair, he should be watching Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series racing brought to you by Stacy Strong right here on Sim Racing Media. To be fair, there's nothing else worth watching on a Sunday night. You can stream it tomorrow, watch us tonight.
There you go. Skippy down and away as we come back to green on the lap 117 of 260 laps. And he is down and away. And I'm sure the majority of this field will be glad to get to Las Vegas and off of the Super Speedway-esque track here. As RJ Root is on his back bumper pretty heavily there. On the inside, Tane Hodgson is trying to get something going on the inside there, but the outside line seems to be a little bit stronger.
Well, and the field was strong when we dropped the green flag 119 laps ago. But, you know, here we are with just 11 cars on the lead lap. These 11 cars are going to have to work together. Now, keep in mind, Timothy Cook back in 11th position, he just blasted through the 22, so he's not going to be a factor. Michael Witt here chasing down the 18 of Bobby Anderson, and Bobby not going to be a factor either. Oddly enough, Brian Tarnowski, who's down laps as well. Right now, Tarnowski down just 2 laps is probably the strongest car laps down, in my honest opinion. Of course, it's slightly biased because Tarnowski's a friend. But Waukesha, Wisconsin's I'm going to practice it now. Waukesha, Wisconsin's very own Brian Tarnowski starting to work his way back up through the field as we just have these cars atop the pile. Looks like that front pack, not much of a factor. Looks like Gangler is going to be the last lead lap car at the rear of that front pack. And Gangler probably in a fairly clean car. Has that Milwaukee paint scheme on it. I do like the Milwaukee paint scheme. We see a slow car here on the apron. 2 of them. That's Randall Watkins as we slip past. Eric Papineau here in the 17 running in 4th position. He's up 21. Skip Gandy is up 30 positions right now. Can't get any higher for him as he leads this piece. Right now, the Pied Piper of Atlanta Motor Speedway. He's got RJ Root in tow just behind him. And all of a sudden now the 93 of Tane Hodison, I'm sorry, the 21 of Tane Hodison, since that's what he wanted to paint himself as, leading this piece. He's got Sean Rogers, who would be the lucky dog this time around, pushing him from the rear. So right now, not a bad thing if you're Sean Rogers. Looks like Timothy Cook, though, bringing a pit side, as he may not be able to go any further.
Yeah, this has been a race of survival. You know, and Hallie, you know, says they're going to watch something fun on television. Well, the tribe has spoken, and Alex Murray got voted out of the tribal island.
Yeah, that tiki torch going to be extinguished for sure, as we're 3 wide here with the 60 in the middle. No reason for this. We've seen enough of these wrecks tonight now that taking it 3 wide on lap 123 is absolutely not necessary, especially when you've got a strong contender like RJ Root on the high side. One false move and it's over for RJ. And we're going to stay right here. That's the 60 in the middle. Oh, Lord. I'm a fat guy. I could have a heart attack just watching this.
Dave's blood pressure is rising above his normal blood pressure rate as we get this one sorted out here from Atlanta.
Finally, it does sort itself out. My goodness.
Meanwhile, back at the ranch, RJ Root there fell all the way back to 4th position, and 124 laps. I don't understand why they went 3 wide too. We're settled back down to 2 wide racing here.
Well,
there's your leader.
Tane Hodison being pushed down the backstretch by lucky dog Sean Rogers. Maybe Rogers thinking he can get one of his laps back the old-fashioned way. That'd be cool. If they wound up getting a caution with Rogers just ahead of Hodison, first off, this could be beneficial for both of these drivers. Let's look at the situation as we seek out Sean Rogers. From Kalamazoo, Michigan, the young man is driving the number 44. If he could get himself in front of Tane Hodison, this can be beneficial for both of them. One, Hodison can start saving some fuel. He can try to, burp that throttle a little bit, and not be flat out. Second of all, now you wind up with Rogers being able to get not only that first lap back that he's already down, but then the second lap back. So this could be a strategic position to be in, as we work our way toward the end of stage number 2. Now, here's the thing, Alan. Do you try to hang on? I mean, we still have another stop in us before the end of this stage. Rogers last came down on 105, Hodison down on 106, so they're going to have to decide how they play this.
I think whatever Hodgson does, you do. If he comes down pit road, you come down pit road. If he stays out, you stay out. So the main focus is getting your lap back. That's the main focus right now. So don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Do what the leader's going to do.
We are following the leader wherever he may go. Looks like several drivers already putting it on the hauler tonight. Kevin Zosiak, Alex Murray, Dalton Mobley, Gitter from last week, and literally everybody from 41st on back. As Tane Hodison leads this piece, I'm kind of curious to see what we do here as we are coming up toward the end of what would be a green flag pit stop. As we had 51 drivers register for this race, and not everybody makes it, and it's exciting when you have a league that's that big that drivers literally don't make the cut. But as we cross the start-finish line here on lap number 130, we find out that, Rogers, if he could get himself around Hodison right here, he could theoretically get both laps back in one fell swoop should a caution come out perfectly timed.
Yeah, for sure. And so that's the other thing too is, if you're Sean Rogers, you try to ride it out, and then you're hoping that you stay behind him. Or try to get his lap back the hard way. So he's got that going against him, and then the other thing too is you got to really stay with the leader. Your hands are kind of tied, so you're playing defense and offense all in the same time. So nonetheless, Chris Davis here is currently running P2, and that's a pretty sizable gap back to Sean Rogers and Payne Hodgson here, and so as these guys work feverishly trying to catch up to the first two cars, and I want you to keep in mind that the second car in line behind that 21 car is the leader, but that the car behind him is the lap car. And here comes second place as they close the gap in considerably closing the gap here. And that's Chris Davis in that number 74 car. As we're almost 14 laps in to the end of the stage here. So you got to wonder is when's the green flag pit stop gonna come? I would suspect they come in the next 10 laps here. So let's take a look at this, right? So the last time that Payne Hodgson was on pit road was on lap 94. So he's got a considerable amount of old tires. Chris Davis here on his last time it was lap 115. So that was almost 15 laps ago. So new tires are going to become a factor here.
New tires will be a factor. We started to see them not be so bad for a little while, and then now as we've gone deeper into this race, everybody's on what seems to be a different pit strategy. In fact, let's see, Chris Davis and Kavaja Holt, they're on the same strategy. Payne Hodgson came in, he's got 28.
Oh, save it. Sean Rogers saves it.
Sean Rogers pulling off the save. Stand by here. But a lot of these drivers are starting to separate themselves, as far as pit strategy goes. Longest tires on the track right now belong to Skip Gandy, and Skippy's got 47 laps on his tires and still holding steady. His time really isn't that far off.
No, it's not really. I mean, Skippy's back there in the 7th position right now, and his last lap, Dave, was a 30.17. So I mean, they're still running 30-second laps. Chris Davis is running a sub 30-second lap there with that 29.58. There, and they're doing 178 miles an hour, 180 miles an hour here.
181 into the corner they are. 104 degrees the track temperature. It's only cooled off 2 degrees since the drop of the green flag. There's really no tightness in this track whatsoever right now. That asphalt is slicker than slick as Chris Davis leads this piece here on lap 138, working our way toward lap 160 for stage 2 to finally come to a merciful end if we can get there. 10 cars on the lead lap. Michael Witt, the last one, and he's kind of riding around here in survivor mode, as a caution would help him get caught back up to the rest of the lead lap cars, as he's currently buried in lap car land.
Lap car land, not to be confused with lap land on the North Pole, but nonetheless, here we go. We got 20 laps left in the stage 2 here as we come back up to RJ Boots there. And second stage, kind of like watching the baseball team with the bad inning here, but nonetheless, the field seemed to settle down a little bit, get the nervousness out of the system here, as they had one stage to do that already, but actually stage and a half. we're watching the number 23 car, Sean Kelly there. And he is currently running 13th there. He's a lap down, 2 laps down.
Savinano, one of the stronger drivers that's down laps right now, running in 13th position. He's following Brian Tarnowski in the 28th. That's the Tricia's Hope Chevrolet Camaro. As he rolls it through 1 and 2, everybody finally calming themselves down, as that's what we've needed all night long. I mean, we've had too many cautions in the first 2 stages to justify, the amount of racing that there is. And I mean, right now, as we look here from the gearbox of Chris Davis back at RJ Root, I mean, if I was Chris Davis, I would stay right where I am. He's probably got the most talented driver on the racetrack behind him, giving him a bump once again, as RJ has time and time again been able to prove that he belongs up here in this position. As we're going to see him roll out of turn number 4 back into the quad oval. He's going to hit Davis just as they go through the exit of the quad oval and into 1 and 2. He gives him one more little bump, and it must be some kind of a conversation between those 2 drivers, as Davis was perfectly prepared for this. They roll out of turn number 2, and here comes RJ one more time, giving him a shove into turn 3.
Yeah, down into turn 3 there. The Missouri, the Virginia native there, RJ Root. I call him Boot. Anyways, RJ Root, Chris Davis there. And these are 2 guys that are going to draft really well together. And it's amazing how much talent it takes. It takes a lot of skill to be able to bump draft. Not everybody can do it. You have to be perfectly lined up with the car behind, the car in front of you. Nonetheless, we got 15 laps left in the stage here as we are working lap 145, and the field is working around 2 lap cars there. That is the 89 car of Steve Herring and Chris Claude there as they work past those guys here. Chris Davis up 13 spots, Alex Brinson up, and Kavaja Holt both up 39 spots for where they started from. Skip Gandy, he is up 24 spots. And then you get to the lap cars there. 7 cars on the lead lap. Bretton Hobbies in the YouTube chat saying Virginia is in the house tonight. Root, Gandy, Virginia, stand up. Aaron Mack finally a good green flag run. Don't let this jinx it. That's the thing, is the energy is going to start ramping up here as we get closer and closer to the end of the stage. We're about 13 laps away from the end of the stage 2. Here in Alex Princeton running a P4 there, a 39 spot from where he started at. Kavaja Holt, he's running P5 here. So right now, as it stands, at the stage we're in right now, Chad Stanner, Kavaja, Rogers, Gandy, Papano, Holt, Princeton, Hodgson, Root, and Chris Davis would all get their bonus points as we have 12 laps left in stage 2. Kavaja Holt, the driver out of Waynesboro.
If we take a look here at Kavaja Holt right now, running in 5th position, he's got that 00, cranked up 39 spots out of Waynesboro. And I'll tell you what, I told you before, a lot of these drivers are going to be in survivor mode. To Aaron Mack's point, this is the kind of green flag run that we're used to seeing out of these drivers in the SNN Cup Series. We're at a point right now in the race where everything has calmed down, and we may see a lot of green flag runs moving deeper into the night here. We look back, and Sean Rogers running the 44 and 11th position right now. He's only going to get 1 lap back in about 10 laps if he stays where he's at. Then we look further back here, Chad Sanner in the 94 from Smithfield, Pennsylvania. He's back here pretty much just holding on to this 4-car, 5-car pack. And, at this stage in the race, you're better off just playing Survivor and seeing if you can get a lap back. I've been there myself, and maybe that's why I'm strategizing the way that I am in my head, especially, you know, if I'm Sean Rogers in the 44. I'm thinking I just got to get up here and around Chris Davis so I can get 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, so that's saying we got 9 laps left there in the stage 2, and that's the thing too. There, Dave, you're Sean Rogers just making laps, trying to get to the end of the stage. I mean, at the very minimum, he's gonna get 1 lap back, but he'd love to get both of his laps back and get back on the lead lap.
Absolutely. Taking a look right now at Chris Davis here in the 74 Toyota Camry. I'll tell you what, I'm starting to really like these new body styles on the Camry. They're starting to grow on me a little bit. They kind of have a Batmobile look to them as he rolls out of turn 2 and down the backstretch, taking once again a nice healthy bump from RJ Root. So this train here, this lead pack, I think this is going to be the model that the rest of these drivers need to base themselves off of for the rest of the night.
For sure, you know, Chris Davis right there. He's got RJ Root, and you said it time and time again, is the way that RJ Root bump track is so professional, you know, and they've worked all week on this style of racing here. They've worked all week. They've done official races. They've done NIS races. You know, they've tested. They've done it all. As we have, 6 laps left in stage 2. And Sean Rogers is going to try to look here in just a little bit, see if he can't get by Root and Davis. But the thing is, if anybody takes the bait when Sean Rogers jumps down to the inside line or jumps up to the outside line.
Just 5 laps to go here, 6 laps to go now in stage number 2, Alan. What are you thinking? Are we going to see this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finish this way, or are we going to see anybody jostling for position toward the end?
Well, I think Sean Rogers needs to make a move to try to get ahead of Chris Davis shortly before when it comes down to like 3 to go. Jump down, see if someone takes the bait and can help you get past Root and Davis.
Absolutely. As here we are on lap 155, stage 2. I don't think we ever thought we were going to see the end of 2. This is probably the longest second stage of my career here in the broadcast booth as Chris Davis leads us closer and closer to the end. We see here in the youtube.com live chat that Virginia is in the house, of course. We're glad to have all of you with us as our views just keep getting higher and higher. Make sure that, you get those eyeballs here. Turn on those bell notifications. Subscribe to Sim Racing Media. We have racing 6 nights a week at this point, all but 7 now. As NASCAR season has cranked back up, so has the iRacing season. And I'll tell you what, Alan, I was excited the last couple of weeks watching the real-life racing over on Fox and Fox Sports 1 that iRacing is a banner sponsor on the Fox broadcast.
They are. And that tells you how much iRacing has grown. Even throughout the pandemic when they were doing the iRacing races and show notes on Fox, the number of memberships on the service has grown. But I'll be low-key honest with you, Dave. I watched NASCAR over until about April when the local dirt track fires up, and then I let the old dirt track entertain me from there.
Yeah, dirt track racing is exciting. I know that there was a grassroots racing network that was coming out. I forget what it was, but it was a streaming service. I know that there's more auto racing on TV now than you were ever able to, find before. And NASCAR has changed, so drastically over the last 60 plus years, 75 years, now 76 this year, where, they've really come along as far as technology has gone. And, I thought that these next-gen cars were going to basically be very identical to one another, but even the body styles that we see out of the new Fords and new Toyotas are still exciting to see something different, and they think that they're getting an edge. And obviously right now there's a Chevy, a Ford, and a Toyota atop this pile, so still very equal, and that puts a lot of the onus on the drivers.
Yeah, so, we're one to go here in stage number 2. So, to your point also, and we did get some good news. Oswego is coming out on iRacing in a future build, and we're getting Millbridge, and we're getting mini sprint. So I am super excited to drive those cars.
Coming across the start-finish line here on 161, once the 10th place car of Alexander Gangler crosses, that will conclude stage number 2 here, mercifully at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Chris Davis captures the green and white checkered flag. He's followed by R.J. Root, Tane Hoddison, Kavaja Holt, Eric Papineau, Skip Gandy, Alex Princeton, Michael Witt, Jeff Carson, and Alexander Gangler. Those drivers all will be awarded the ever-popular bonus points, which, as we had mentioned earlier on in our broadcast, how important that they are as far as points go. So, Chris Davis, congratulations on finally capturing the green and white checkered flag here. So we're going to see if we can find Chris.
I'm pretty sure they
There
were.
he is. Hey, Chris Davis, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, we finally make it to the end of stage 2, and you get to wave the green and white checkered flag this time around. How you feeling?
Pretty good. It's been a long race so far.
Yeah, that's the understatement of the year right there. I mean, listen, most of this stage, you had R.J. Root in the rearview mirror, and you could not possibly have a better drafting partner than R.J. It looked like he was basically timing everything just perfectly. How was that experience for you, down there in the 74?
Pretty good. I've worked with RJ before at a few plate tracks. Those Team Connie guys are extremely fast. So, I knew he was going to be quick. I just kind of kept waiting for him to make a move, and he decided to sit there and ride behind me, so I got to give him thanks for that. But I'm sure here at the end, he's not going to be so willing to sit there, so we'll see.
No, he's just kind of toying with you like a cat playing with a mouse, that's for sure. But, at the end of the day, R.J. Root is probably the person that I would most want to see as my drafting partner. It keeps you competitive, it keeps you up there, and, of course, ahead of the pack. So congratulations there on the Stage 2 win, and maybe we'll see you on the other side.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it.
We're going to send Chris back up into his Discord channel, and we're going to get a hold of R.J. Root, as a matter of fact, as R.J. is here with us from Field Filler Racing. Hey, R.J., it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I got you guys.
Hey, man, listen, you were doing a great job bump drafting there with Chris Davis most of this stage once all of the crap got taken care of behind you. How do you explain the talent that you have as far as being able to time those bumps just right?
I mean, it comes with a lot of practice and, a lot of miscues and, just working on it. I love plate racing and I love lining up bumps like that, so it's a lot of fun, and it's a little challenging, and that's why we've had so many cautions and so many bad bumps and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, just watching you up here, I mean, you were like Rembrandt laying those bumps down on Chris Davis's bumper. I was up here in complete and utter awe. So congrats there for that. Obviously, it looks like you're going to be bringing us back to green this time around. What do you think as far as strategy here for Stage 3? Survive or push it?
We're gonna push it. I'm gonna work with Chris pretty much until the end, and we're gonna try to stay up front. But I'm also trying to eat pizza rolls while I'm racing, so it's not an easy task.
Listen, if there's anybody that can pull that off, it's you. I know this. We've done this together for too long.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Listen, good luck the rest of the way. Maybe we'll talk to you, because I'm sure that you're going to wind up here on the podium.
Thank you.
That, of course, the voice of the great R.J. Root, of literally the quintessential veteran here in this league. And, Alan, here we go. Stage number 3 about to be underway as the iRacing.com pace car brings us out of turn number 4. We're going to have just less than 100 laps to the checkered flag. I'm excited. You're excited. The drivers are excited. The iRacing.com pace car drops below the red and white line. RJ Root with control of the field brings us into the quad oval, hits the Geico restart zone, drops the hammer, and we're underway.
Dropping the hammer, RJ Root does there in the number 7 caliber collision Chevrolet is going now. Tane Hodgson is on the inside trying to get something going there, and he's going to try to bring that 77 car. That's what it looks like there from my angle, with them on the inside.
Well, and as these drivers get back up to speed, you know, we want to keep an eye on...
17 car. Very Pepino on the inside. Going with Hodgson. Hodgson for the lead. Does he have enough to make it past the Root on the inside? Maybe, maybe not. Come on, Pepino, help him out. Help him out.
Attaboy. Listen, the 17 is here on the low side, pushing around Tane Hodgson. But right now, the way that we saw it just a few minutes ago, you know, RJ Root was just behind the 74 of Chris Davis, and it looks like now Davis is taking his turn at bumping the rear bumper of RJ Root. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, this tandem here is going to be the hardest to beat on the racetrack.
Yeah, give the advantage to the outside line with RJ Root. But here comes Hodgson with Papino on the inside line, trying to get that inside line back up and going here as we are clean and green. Kavaja Holt there in that 00 car on the outside line. The team bail on the outside line and try to get down to the inside. We don't know, but time will tell. RJ Root handedly on the outside to get the outside line nice and rolling. That's going to put Hodgson all the way back down to 7th. As right now, your top 5 as it stands is Root, Davis, Holt, and Witt, and Alex Princeton there in that number 19 car. As we are working lap 169 here, and we're going a little bit further back in the field. Hodgson, or Sean Rogers got his lap back there. One of them back. Now he's just down 2 laps.
And I'll tell you what, that puts Sean Rogers, you know, he's probably the only person involved in this race right now who wants to see a caution come out. Even if it's just for debris on the racetrack, he would love to see that caution come out so he can get that lap back and now contend with the leaders as he runs right now in 11th position out of, oh, wow, a nice little bump there, out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. As Rogers now the actual lucky dog in this piece. And I'll tell you what, you know, if you can really bide your time and stay up here and out of trouble, which right now he is right in the midst of the mayhem, you know, he stands a pretty good shot at getting that lucky dog spot. The problem, whoa, as he bumps the rear end of the 80. You know, right now, Tarnowski's 2 laps down, Savignano's 2 laps down. So, you know, we're looking at this point to see where Rogers can go for safety so he doesn't lose that lucky dog position.
Yeah, so Rogers right now is on the inside line, you know, to your point, Dave. You know, he almost got a race, got to come back up to the field, which I think that 44 car is very capable of doing. But now, barring another caution, there's no more brakes.
No, the only brakes that there are commercial brakes and caution flags, and we're hoping not to see one of those, but we can tell you this much. We are going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. You're watching the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media.
My name is Leon Kyles. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I have 2 adult children, 134, 125, and a wife. And I'm glad to be here today. When I got the initial news of my prostate cancer, it was devastating because I got a phone call from my doctor late in the evening, And I was wondering why he was calling, so I put it on speakerphone, and me and my wife was sitting there watching the movie, and he just came straight out and said, "You got cancer." You know, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, am I gonna make it? So I had a lot of different thoughts going through my mind. You know, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to survive, you know, what was gonna happen with my wife, my kids, and, you know, I felt hurt, a lot of pain. Through 211, actually. They gave me the number to Trisha Hope, and which was a great thing because Trisha Hope has been very helpful throughout my process of going through my cancer, going through my surgery. Now it's in remission. I don't have it anymore, no diagnosis. And she really helped me with some bills and stuff like that with a grant that I appreciate very much. She helped me out, also gave me some referrals to some agencies that could help me out in my city in Anderson. We had at least, you know, probably over the last few months, at least about 6 or 7 conversations where, you know, she would always have an encouraging word to say, always, you know, telling me to be thankful, you know, and just live your life to the fullest, and them the things I've been doing. Anybody that may be experiencing cancer in any shape, form, or fashion, trust God. You have to be patient. You have to make go to your doctor's appointments, and then just, you know, live your life to the full extent. Enjoy yourself, and just keep moving forward because God is there for you. This program is to help cancer patients, and, you know, the donations would be gratefully appreciated because they go through a lot of things and they have a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of bills, things that, you know, they can't take care of anymore because of the job situation, leave of absences. Some people never go back to work. Some people are going through chemo and they need a helping hand. So if you could donate anything to help the Trisha Hope Foundation, it would be greatly appreciated.
Basket can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force him off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Trish on the bottom. Richard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
I as they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and
my
to the
goodness!
line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Preen Garden Weed Preventer and Preen Garden Weed Preventer Plus Plant Food block weeds before they start and are safe for use around over 400 flowers, vegetables, trees, and shrubs. Best of all, they give you 3 months of freedom from weeding in just 4 easy steps. You can apply Preen anytime before or during the growing season. But since it's a weed preventer, not a weed killer, early spring is best. Here's how. Start by removing existing weeds and their roots in the area where you want to apply Preen. Sprinkle granules directly onto dry soil, mulch, or stone so that they're evenly spaced. Within 24 hours of applying, integrate the granules into the top layer of soil or mulch or stone-covered bed. Finally, water with a hose or sprinkler or a well-timed soaking rain to activate the protective weed barrier. When activated, Preen creates an invisible weed-fighting barrier just below the soil surface that targets and prevents weed seeds from sprouting and forming roots. People and pets may enter the treated area once dusts have settled and the area is thoroughly dry from watering or first rain. That's it. Now you'll have a beautiful weed-free space and 3 months to do anything but weeding. Satisfaction guaranteed. Trusted for over 50 years, Preen is America's #1 weed preventer brand with weed preventers for every type of garden.
Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway as the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series is working lap 189 of 260. So just over 70 laps to go here at one of our oldest and largest 1.5 mile speedways that has now become sort of a super speedway. RJ Root leading this piece here on lap 190, being pushed along by Chris Davis. And you know, there's just something that makes me feel like all is right in the world when RJ Root is leading an SNN Cup race.
Yeah, and you know, this has been a marathon all night long here as RJ Root is, you know, he's not getting too far away from Chris Davis and Tane Hodgson there, as they both, you know, everybody else came down pit road, you know, lap 162. So I imagine there's going to be some more pit stops in the future here before the end of this one.
With 70 laps, we're looking at about 2, maybe 3 pit stops, depending on how the tires hold up. Taking a look right now at our track conditions. Track temperature finally down below that century mark and made it to 99. Outdoor air temperatures at 90, so it's warm, but not too warm. As at 99, that's when some of the grip gets back into this track. That's when we're going to start to see some of these lap times really start to pick up here as they're able to get a little bit more grip out of the asphalt. We're taking a look right now at our pit strategy, which has been basically across the board right up until just 29 laps ago, as we were there at the end of stage 2. Everybody finally getting back on the same page. We went through multiple pit cycles where some of these drivers were staying out on their original tires from lap 1, and it became a flaming pile of mess. You know, I mean, RJ Root's been in 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 times now, so he's got 2 sets of tires left. That's what leads me to believe that these drivers can make it on 2 stops or maybe 3. 2 stops and a fuel dump.
I can agree with that. I like that logic.
Well,
So-
the logic is flawless here on Sim Racing Media. And the other thing that this did was it also got these lead lap. What in the world? Oh my! I don't know what on God's green earth that was here, back further in the field. But thank God it didn't amount to anything. Hey.
Yay. That's RJ Root there, still out in front of this one. And it's only, not even, not even a car separates Davis and Root right now as they are working, turn 3 and 4. But here comes the inside line. That's that 77 car there. And who is in that 77 car there? It's a black. That's a good-looking car though. That 77, and that is Rich Jet.
77 is Rich Jet
down.
driving the double natural there, and we can see Rich here. Of course, laps down, technically being scored in 22nd position. He's 7 laps down, but still up here now, passing RJ Root. So he's going to be 6 laps down when they come to the line. Maybe Rich thinks that he's going to do something fancy. I don't know, but he's got Nolan Hodgson in tow. Chris Davis, though, shoving RJ Root down here into turn number 1, as now Chris Davis, after watching the master drafter of RJ Root push him for the last, entire stage, now it's RJ's time to finally start getting some pushes from Chris. I know that, in between stages we were able to talk to both of those drivers, and RJ, was very candid about it, saying, hey, I practiced it. I love super speedways, and here he is taking the bump.
He's taking the bump, and not like a bump in wrestling, but a bump down the back, down through the quad oval and down the back straightaway. As watching Chris Davis and RJ Root work together is kind of like watching Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart work together all them years when they were super speedway racing, dominating everything.
Absolutely, as RJ Root leads Chris Davis and the 93 of Tane Hodgson here on lap number 199. We're just about at 60 to go. Finally, these laps are starting to come off the tower in regular fashion. It's not slow anymore, so to speak, as we've finally gotten at a pretty good pace. That puts us at a good time to wrap this bad boy up. Alexander Gangler running in 10th position, still on the lead lap. He is the last car on the lead lap, just ahead of Sean Rogers. Rogers still back here, just trying to survive and stay out of trouble behind what looks to be just a mess. I mean, he's got Alex Prince and he's got the 90 of Anthony Savignano up there. And at this point, he should just back off, let them do what they got to do, and survive. And a lot of these drivers are down enough laps that they're perfectly content just kind of hanging out and, surviving.
Surviving is the key to tonight, as we've seen everything from the big one multiple times to attrition kicking in. And, Dave, there's only 8 cars on the lead lap right now.
9 cars if you count Gangler.
9 cars.
Gangler's kind of a non-factor right now. I mean, he's all the way on the opposite end of the racetrack. He could really use a caution, at least to try to get caught back up to these leaders. I mean, he obviously fell way off pace right off out of the gate, as he was the lucky dog, so he was at the end of the longest line. Taking a bump once again from the 74 is RJ Root, and, we're going to ride right along here on the nose of Chris Davis, as we're going to watch just how good he is, as we got to see what his drafting partner had. A little bit of rub of the wall here. It's almost like we jinxed him. 3-2-1. He's going to take the high line. That allows Oh my, he's kissing wall like crazy. Obviously, just as soon as we came to Chris Davis, now he gets tight and no longer able to hang right behind RJ Root. That's going to force RJ to find another drafting partner. He's got the 77 of Rich Jett just ahead of him, and the 93 of Tane Hodison, or the 21 of Hodison, just behind. So he's going to have to really trust Hodison here coming into the quad oval, as it looks like he's ready to nudge the double natural out of the way.
Yeah, Hodison there, shown in P2. And, you got to wonder, how much longer does RJ Root deal with, with the 77 car being up there, and that's going to hold him up. How did he get around him? That's the thing that, RJ Root's got to contend with lap car.
$55 laps to go now for RJ Root as he leads Tane Hodison and Michael Witt. Your top three right now. Kavaja Holt dropping out of line. He's going to go down for some pit service as he's the first to blink here in what will be this round of green flag pit stops, all things being equal. RJ Root leading this piece. He's now drafting just behind Rich Jett in the double natural. And I'll tell you what, it's probably not a bad thing right now. It allows RJ to save some fuel. It gives Rich Jett... Oh, they're rubbing the wall like crazy. These are going to be a lot of drivers coming down pit road this time through, as that may have been Michael Witt and perhaps even Chris Davis. It may soon be time to come down and get some fresh shoes on the car.
Yeah, so you're, working lap 207 or 260. You got to wonder, how much longer can these guys survive on these tires that they have on the race car? So that's the other thing too, is 162 was the last time they came in. So that was probably like over 40 or so laps ago, 45 laps ago, that these guys came in and got tires.
45 laps on a lot of these tires is a long time for many of these drivers. And as a driver, you've got to be able to make that adjustment, as far as what to do once the car starts changing. Because a lot of these cars, they may start out loose, or in this case, they may start out tight. You wear those tires in, they loosen themselves up, and then back at the end of the run, you're tight all over again, and they will yo-yo like that. I know as a driver, one of the hardest things I ever had to learn was the patience to let the car come to me. And that was something that, my teammates, Bob Nestor and Chris Claude, preached very heavily. Of course, I never listened. But, a lot of these drivers wait for that car to come back to them. But once it goes away, sometimes all it is the difference of a half of a lap. And next thing you know, you're tighter than a snare drum.
Tighter than a snare drum is what the top 10 is right now. I would even go as far as to say the top 6. But you're watching these guys run out, and if there was a master class on pump drafting, RJ Root would have gave it. As we got Tane Hodison there coming down through the quad oval again, as he is on the back bumper. And is this going to be where RJ Root moves the 77 car of Rich Jett out of the way? As Javette McNabb in the YouTube chat says, we need a caution. We do not need a caution. We've had 10 cautions for cause tonight and 1 or 2 for the stage break. So it's really technically 12 cautions tonight here, as Hodgson still working on Root, and Root getting impatient with the number 77 car of Rich Jett, still being mindful though that he has to finish this race off.
Green
we got cars coming down pit road. Capito's in.
Green flag pit
Gandy's
stops
in.
are underway as
Marty
Capito
is in
and
right now.
Gandy come down.
Randall Watkins still on pit road for like ever.
RJ
Bobby
Root,
Anderson's in right now.
RJ
holds it in right.
RJ Root going to stay out though this time around, as we're still working lap 213. It looks like Gandy and Papineau are both coming off of pit road now. Tanner Marty and Bobby Anderson. Anderson coming in. He's getting pit service. Ken Ron, same way, as he's going to get 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast. RJ Root still hasn't decided when. He last came down on 162. That's going to put him here as we pull up the pit strategy box. 51 laps on one set of tires. And he's still out here leading, let's see, 30.88 seconds. That's 7/10 off of his best time.
For sure. So, I want to take a look at them too. So, here's the thing too. So right now, the best lap time that RJ Root has put up right now has been a 30:13. So his time actually fell off his last lap, Dave, was a 30.84 on his last lap. As we're working lap 2:15 right now. And, so now not only does Root have to deal with Jet in the 37 car, but they're working their way on some more lap cars.
Well, and we're going to see those lap cars play more and more of a factor as we get deeper into this race. I mean, because he's staying out the way that he is, he's putting cars down almost like, the end of this piece isn't anywhere near us. I mean, we're working lap 216 of 260. And, the closer that we get, now with 45 to go, I think RJ knows that he can do this on one more stop.
Yeah, so, the money stop is coming up for these guys. And, I mean, what a race has been so far. I mean, the first couple stages the second stage was really rough. But now that we've got this all sorted out, we're getting ready to get a whale of a show here at the end.
Without a doubt, as we take a look here at RJ Root, we'll see what kind of speed he's running getting into the corner. Now, RJ here from the nose, we can see him bump drafting the 77. He's going just about 177 miles per hour into the corner. He's going to gain a lot of speed coming out of turn number 2, down the backstretch, 181, 182, 182 max going into 3 before he basically has to give it a little bit of a goose here. He's going to stay the same way as they are starting to catch up to another pack of lap cars just ahead of them. That's not going to be good for them when you consider the fact that he's been out here for more than 50 laps on one set of tires and still this fast.
Yeah, RJ Root is really good at conserving his tires right now, as we are working lap 219 here. You can see they are caught up to that lead pack of lap cars there. And now, not only does RJ got to get around Rich Jet, but now he's got to work on the other lap cars and contend with those guys. Meanwhile, I just wonder if this is the time for Payne Hodgson to kind of like pounce and get by Root.
Hodgson's going to be coming down this time, it sounds. So I'm assuming that we're going to see RJ do the same thing, as they're going to want to stick together. They do.
Oh, we got trouble.
Oh, the 74 locks them up coming onto pit road. Not sure if he made it. The 44 of Sean Rogers coming down once again. RJ Root leading the field of lead lap cars down onto pit road here on lap 221. That should leave 40 laps to the end of this.
Chris Davis comes in the pit road a little too hot, and that is going to have implications there on Chris Davis. And, it's coming from 180 miles an hour down to 45 miles an hour. You're coming off race speed, and then you're pretty much coming down to highway speed. Alex Gangler going to take command of this race as we cycle through. And this is that group that, that those guys were catching
Well, and Gangler now, that lead not going to last for very long, as he last came down on lap 162. So we can see right here on our pit strategy graphic, he's got 59 laps on the 8 machine. That Milwaukee Toyota Camry still cranked up to crazy, but he's got to be starting to lose a little bit, as his last lap time was 31:11 and his best time was 29:67. So he's more than 2 seconds off of his fastest time in this race. So this can't last for much longer for Gangler, as he does try to make a little bit of hay here and try to put some distance between himself and Hodison and RJ.
Yeah, he's trying to spread that gap, but nonetheless, I'm with you, Dave. I don't think it's going to work out in his favor here, as those guys are been off pit road for a good while now. So it's going to come down to when you're Gangler, how long do you stay out? I mean, you stay out until you finally spin out. But I tell you right now, Sean Rogers there back in 9th position, he is still waiting on that caution flag to come out. He can get back on the lead lap and see if he's got something for the leaders here.
Gangler's going to stay out until that fuel cell runs bone dry, is what he's going to do. I hope for his sake that he's got a Milwaukee transfer pump to get a little bit of extra fuel into the into the injector system to get around this piece.
Atlanta not disappointing at all, as we are on the closing end of this race. And I got to tell you, this has been a whale of a show, but it's fixing to get good, though. As we, Mark Johnston, he's on pit road to get his service there in the number 80 car. He's, multiple laps down. But at the top of the heat here, Alexander Gangler driving a whale of a race, but right now he's got Skip Gandy there on his rearview mirror. He's looking to get by. Ooh, we got a car bailing to the inside here.
That's the 24 getting out of line. Maybe he just didn't want to feel like he was part of the parade here. As Gangler still leads this piece, he's got a 10-second lead over Tane Hodison. And, Hodison's obviously closing in on him, step by step. But, at this stage, if you can stay out the way that you can, I don't see an issue with this.
I don't either. Still look. If he can stay out there and just run laps, he might be waiting until they get down to like 30 laps to go. Come in and get those fresh Goodyear tires. Maybe even top it off with gas. Because as we've seen, tire wear really hasn't been too much of an issue. So let's just come down and get some gas, top it off, and get to the end.
Well, and we see right now Alexander Gangler leading now by, instead of 10 seconds, now it's 9 seconds. So at this point, this is 10.9876. I should have come down earlier, is what Gangler's going to be saying on the radio. So at this point, it's, poop or get off the pot.
Well, he's definitely on his phone right now doing some Facebook while he's on the pooper. But here he goes. And like you said, that lead is dissipating in a hurry.
Well, and now I hear on the race radio Chris Claude going to be coming down this time. I know that Alexander isn't too far away from him, as they are just behind. Whoa! Chris sliding way down, trying to get the 10 car woed up. So that leaves Gangler all by his lonesome. Now he doesn't even have a drafting partner. So we're suddenly going to see this almost like a doomsday clock for him. 7 seconds, now 7.5, now 7.25. Now it's about to be 7. I feel like an auctioneer here.
Do we hear 6? Do we hear 5? We are 31 laps to go, coming to 29 laps, or 30 laps to go here. As we see, I guess there's a couple drivers that locked up there.
Stays out again. I don't understand what's causing Gangler not to come down pit road. I mean, this may be the bonehead move of the race, as now he's down to 5 3/4, 5 1/2, 5 1/4. It really is like an auction at this point. How low can this lead go before he gets out of the way?
And, the other thing, too, is Shane Hodgson, RJ Root, Chris Davis, Michael Wood. These guys are coming like a freight train. Now, here he comes. He comes up pit road this time, all by his lonesome.
This may be too little too late as he comes down pit road. That opens the door for Tane Hodgson. Now, when he comes back out, the question that we're going to have is how far, as Gangler gets into his pit box, they're already coming onto the backstretch, is Hodgson and RJ. They come down the backstretch. We're watching for Gangler here on the front side. Does he lose a lap here or not, as he's now out of his pit box? They're coming through turn number 3. Gangler has to scramble down pit road and not speed. That's the next thing. As he gets off of pit road, now it's time to get cranked back up.
So it looks like there's a car coming out of pit road also. But the thing is, too, Dave, is you could cheat some of these sectors on pit road to get you an advantage. To get off pit road a little bit quicker, but just make sure you're down to
Gangler
that.
winds up losing the lap as they just drive right past him and blow the proverbial doors off of his race car.
The virtual doors have been blown off Gangler's race car as Hodgson is in control of the field, and RJ Root bumping Hodgson into the quad oval. This is your top 4 right here with Davis, Root, and Hodgson, as they are putting on a show right now with a little over 25 laps to go here in this one. As they've migrated off the inside line, and they are all by themselves in no man's land. And this is the show right here.
Tane Hodgson leads this piece with RJ Root in tow. Chris Davis running in third. Michael Witt, Skip Gandy, Eric Papineau, and Alex Brinson. Brinson's the one that's buried back here behind Papineau and Skip Gandy. So that front pack, they've got 4 drivers. They've got 3 that lead the secondary pack. So it's going to be an interesting run here to the end as Tane Hodgson leads this piece, now being pushed around by RJ Root.
Yeah, here we go. And here comes RJ Root. RJ Root buying his time, doesn't want to make a move just yet. But when he does, I can bet you dollars to donuts that Chris Davis is probably going to go with him.
.24 to go here at the line. Here in the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dave Riegel and Alan Bergen with you here in the broadcast booth. Glad to have all of you with us tonight as, I know that it's been one of those nights here on the iRacing.com servers that, it happens. And we don't want to say that this is normal because it's definitely not. We usually see much shorter races, so to speak. But, one of the important things to remember is, these drivers coming here to Atlanta after all of the nerves of Daytona, they got to get themselves settled in here for the 2024 season. And, sometimes this is kind of a transitional race because, you get yourself all cranked up for Daytona. You're still coming down off of that super speedway high as we come to a smaller super speedway in Atlanta. So, this race just very uncharacteristic of what we usually see in the SNN Cup Series League here on Sim Racing Media. Yvette McNabb saying we need a caution, and Spread Thin Hobby says 5th, 27 to go, Skippy. So, time's starting to tick away for Skip Gandy.
Yeah, Skip Gandy, the sands of the hourglass are running out as we speak. As every lap clicks off as we come to 21 to go here in the SNN Cup Series Atlanta race here. 400 miles, 260 laps. Next week, Dave, we head out west to Las Vegas, and that is one that I am excited for.
Las Vegas always proves to be a really exciting race on our schedule here, you know, and even as we move deeper into the night now with 20 to go, you know, I look forward to going out to Las Vegas. We get ourselves set up there, and, you know, Vegas, you can either have one driver that laps the field, or you can have a really great battle, and this league pretty much proves that it's a crapshoot. As RJ Root giving Hodison another shove down the backstretch. He's not done yet, is RJ, with 20 to go.
20 to go, coming to 19 to go this time by. Does RJ have anything once he steps out? Because he's going to step out of line. It's not a matter of when, if, it's a matter of when. I would like to see this.
You bet your boots that RJ's got something. RJ is able to push himself up here into the rear of Tane Hodison consistently, lap after lap after lap. And, you know, Hodison here in the 21 being scored as the 93, you know, he doesn't realize that he's truly a sitting duck. Chris Davis and RJ Root were working together earlier. RJ and Chris both said they were going to work together here in the latter stage of this race. Realistically, as good as they've been all night long, we could see them just back here kind of screwing around with Tane Hodison and using him more like a sitting duck than anything else.
Using him like a used up trash bag here, as Root is all over the back bumper of that 21 machine there. And you know what? I love that. I've been thinking all night. I love that paint scheme. They're on that number 7 car, RJ Root. I mean, these guys. This is one of the few open setup leagues that races so well, and that we get the pleasure of calling these races.
Well, in the open setup for a long time in this league made all of the difference. You know, there were guys that were going to different setup shops. Do you use VRS? Do you use Makoni? Some of us were using Ryko and Reaper and so on and so forth. But the setup game in iRacing has gotten so much better over the last 2 years that I've seen from up here in the broadcast booth that, you know, a lot of these guys, especially now that they have a lot more data to utilize for the next-gen cars, has gotten that much better. I mean, you know, in the Xfinity and the Truck Series, you still see guys that can run away from the field. But at least here in the Cup Series, we've seen a lot more competitive racing over the last 2 years as more data has been, you know, collected for the next-gen car.
Yeah, and, you know, personally as a driver, you know, like, some people like yourself and myself, this is what the setup shop's tailored to. You know, being able to put a setup in and go out and start turning laps, right? So we got to give credit to the builders, right? The builders of the setup shop. I buy Makoni setups all day long. So they have a good variety of dirt setups also.
Well, and we even have a couple of setup wizards here in this league. Of course, you know, driver of the 9, Jeff Carson, who Carson's already off the track and loaded up on the hauler. But Jeff Carson is a setup wizard. We used to have Bob Nestor, who was a setup wizard who could just make a couple of tweaks to your car, and all of a sudden that could be a tenth and more of a second. 13 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dave Regal and Alan Bergen with you in the broadcast booth. You're watching the Stacy Strong Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series live on Sim Racing Media. Make sure that you tune in with us every night of the week, as I just checked our schedule, and we're basically booked for the next 7 nights.
7 nights of racing. Look, if you can't find racing that you like on Sim Racing Media, well then, I don't know what to tell you. But I mean, you can find it all from next-gen cars to late models to trucks, Xfinity, and everything in between. And you get to hear us, you know, 2 nights out of the week too, so that's a plus.
So Tane Hodison here with 11 to go. leads us now. He's still taking hits from RJ Root as RJ has Chris Davis behind him. I'll tell you what, Alan, this is going to be the one that we're going to watch, because when RJ and Chris make the move, we're going to watch Tane Hodison get left just flapping in the wind like a broken pair of ship sails.
As we are 10 laps to go, when does that move come? I think it comes with about 5 to go. And when that happens, Tane Hodison will not be surprised when it happens. But Root and Davis, they're going to drive off into the sunset. Nine to go. Let's time by. 9 laps to go.
9 to go at the line as Hodison crosses. All of a sudden, we start to see RJ peaking here on the low side. He's looking to see where he can get the best air. And, you know, this is going to be kind of a chess match to see whether or not RJ can get down here and come along with Chris Davis, or if they're going to need help from Michael Witt just behind. And Michael Witt has been kind of quiet most of this night, so do they turn this into a 3-car train and really leave Hodison out to dry, or do they stick it together with now 8 to go?
I hate to say it, but I think when it comes down to the end of this race, I think, you know, Chris Davis, yeah, I'll work with my teammate, you know, I'll work with Root, but honestly, throw that out the window, man. A win's a win. You got to do something. I would rather punch my ticket to the playoffs early in the season, so that way everything, you're not stressed for the next 34 weeks. You're flying on easy street, right? So if I'm Davis, if I'm Root, you know. So look, once Root steps out, does Chris Davis really take the bait, or does he help Tane Hodison instead?
I'd say he's going to take the bait. Hodison can try to block the best he can, but I'm telling you right now, you haven't seen this yet, and this is going to be a treat for you. You haven't seen RJ Root do RJ Root things on this racetrack.
And RJ Root is peaking there as we are 6 to go, and when we come by the green flag or the flag stand, we were coming to 5 phalanges as they come off of 4. Tane Hodison, 5 phalanges into air from the flag man. 5 laps to go.
We're starting to see RJ Root not necessarily get antsy. This is something that he has spent most of his career trying to master, and that's patience. I mean, here at this racetrack, patience at this stage is going to be key.
How much of a run can Hodgson send off? He's got to make that car at least 5 lanes wide. RJ Root looking, stalking, waiting patiently in the wings to pounce all over Hodgson. And that one is a tough one to get out. Chris Davis waiting back there in 3rd. And RJ Root is like a stealth fighter as they come down to 3 to go. 3 to go for Hodgson. RJ Root still waiting for the right moment to pounce.
As we come into turn number 3, we can see Tane Hodison starting to wonder what's going to happen. It looks like, if you see there, RJ Root giving a little bit of room now to Hodison as they come into the quad oval. The popsicle sticks go in the air. We're 2 to go. Now, all of a sudden, we're going to start to see maybe a little bit of a reeling back here in the 7 as RJ Root just waiting for that moment, as you just said, to pounce. He gives one more bump to Hodison. He's got to get himself some room. There's lap cars in the way. That may be an issue. They're going to have to get around them as they come out of turn number 4. The white flag goes in the air. The popsicle sticks are down. We come into the quad oval, and we're racing back to checkers.
Flag is out.
This is going to be the moment that we've all been waiting for as RJ Root and Chris Davis look to make lunch meat out of Tane Hodison coming down the backstretch. Here goes RJ down to the low side. He's got help from Davis. Davis pushing him into turn number 3. They left him out to dry. Hodison all of a sudden melting like a snow cone on a summer day. They bring along Michael Witt, like I had said a moment ago. Oh, they wreck. Hodison wrecks into the 24. The checkered flag has already flown. The race is over, and RJ Root wins the Stacy Strong Cup Series race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
You called it. You called it a shot.
I've done this too long, my friend. Done this too long.
Wow. What an exciting finish.
RJ Root made it exciting. He waited and finally made me look like I knew what I was talking about for a change. And as he comes back here onto the front stretch, right at the start-finish line, RJ Root going to bring it right here to a rest and burns the house down at Atlanta. The devil went down to Georgia, but he couldn't steal RJ Root's soul.
Because he's in the bind and he's way behind. He's looking to make a deal. Rochester, Virginia's own RJ Root brings it home P1 tonight.
RJ Root, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, for the first time here in 2024, I get to do my post-race interview with you in Victory Lane. Man, what a race you ran. You finally made me look like I knew what I was talking about with 2 to go. And what a great finish.
Yeah, that was a blast. Was a little worried about catching those lap cars with 2 to go. And I was a little bummed. I ran out of pizza rolls with like 40 laps to go.
I mean, I get it. I do. That's a tragedy. You know, here's the thing. I watched you come out of the turn, and I saw those lap cars down there. The one thing that I'll tell you is that Chris Claude was down there, and you know he had to be down there saying, guys, you got to follow me. We got to get out of their way because they didn't want to be the cause of anything stupid happening to you. You know, the air made just enough of an adjustment that you were able to squeeze through without any issues. I mean, what a great race, and you really showed off the class here of SNN Cup Series action.
Yeah, I really got to thank Chris for the push there. I mean, if Chris would have went with the 94, you know, I wouldn't be talking to you guys right now. But you know, we kind of had this agreement between us in the top 3. You know, we all paid at the same time to work together. And I let the 94 lead because I wanted to be the pusher, and I wanted to be the first car to be able to make a move. And I knew Chris would go with me because I pushed him to the stage win. So I'm just really glad that you know I made it into the race. I mean, I was the last car to make it in of the uncharted cars, and yeah, it was a blast.
It really was. I mean, you know, I was trying to explain to my partner Alan here, who hasn't seen you race like this before. You know, I said, look, RJ Root is doing RJ Root things. Just let him do his thing. You won't be disappointed at the end. And here we are, certainly not disappointed with the show that you put on, my man. So congratulations here on the win. As you know, the drill is, who do you need to thank before we cut you loose?
I really got to thank Team Conti Sim Performance for the amazing setup this week. This thing has been on absolute rails. I got to thank them for my support through RTP also. I got to thank Centers of Excellence, No Kid Hungry, Nami, Caliber, my girlfriend for making me pizza rolls in the middle of the race.
That's quality right there.
Yeah. This is my first win since moving and being in the apartment, so feels really good.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations. I expect to see more good things out of you next week at Las Vegas. So, congrats on the win tonight. Go ahead and make yourself another plate of pizza rolls. You've earned them.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I believe, Alan, that you should have Chris Davis up with you next.
And Chris Davis is Dave and Alan in the SRM booth. How's it going, my man?
Oh, a lot better now. It's over.
Right. Man, so Dave was telling me that you and RJ were going to work together. And did you ever think about maybe, staying with Hodgson there in the 21 car? Or was it a game plan all along to go with RJ?
No, it was kind of the game plan just to go with RJ. He'd help me out there in the beginning of the race, and I'm the type that I don't like to leave you hanging if you help me. So we'd kind of set up a plan to work together, and I was hoping I'd be able to get to pass him on the last lap, but I didn't want to take it 3 wide and take a chance on wrecking us all. So just gave him a push and then come home second. So.
Well, now we head out west, and as a fellow Show Me State, person, I mean, what's the mindset as we get ready to go to Vegas?
Pretty good. Leading in Daytona, kind of got caught up in a wreck from the lead, and then come out here and finish second. Going to Vegas, I have high hopes. It's a fairly good track for me. We have a really good setup going into it, so I'm excited. I'm ready to put it on a show.
So what corner of Show Me State are we from?
I am actually from the southern part of Missouri.
Nice.
Down around St. Louis area, so.
Oh, that's where I'm from. I'm south of St. Louis.
Yep. So. Small world.
Small world, yeah. My buddy Dave here, he is, we like to take subtle jabs up at each other,
Gotta keep it interesting.
Hey, so from one St. Louis to another, congratulations on that P2, and we'll see you in Vegas.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
All right, and next, finally, last but certainly not least on our podium, going to be Mr. Michael Witt, as he's finished third tonight. Hey, Michael, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
I got you, buddy. I appreciate it.
Man, you should be just sipping on that Lipton tea right about now up there in Bristol. You've got to, at this time, be just completely relaxed and happy with a third-place finish.
Oh, man. Lost network. I don't know what happened, if it was the server or what. Went down 2 laps and just didn't give up, man. And I got to thank my Ironman Motorsports teammates, Eric, Richard, and Skip, man. I mean, they kept me in it.
I mean, listen, that's what shows an Ironman from everybody else. I mean, staying with it, getting through the tough parts, because, I mean, look, for the real Ironman, Cal Ripken Jr., 2,131 games, I mean, he had some bad days out there on the diamond. You had a bad night going into this, but all of a sudden you were able to put it together and come here and finish in third. I mean, once Hodgson dropped past you, it was a done deal.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, like once I got back on the lead lap, I was like, man, I am going to make a push for this win. Kind of got shuffled down to the bottom, I think with some lap car or whatever, and kind of the car just lost the front end, and I slid up in the 44 a little bit, and I got wheel damage. So like from just whenever that happened, the rest of the race, man, my wheel was like at the 2 o'clock for the rest of the race. So I was hoping I could make a bigger move. So, but.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, to be able to hold it together like that. So good for you, man. I mean, look, whether you're a Braves fan or not, you still deserve to be here on the podium tonight here in hot Atlanta. So before we cut you loose, who do you need to tip your cap to? And really just remove the Braves cap altogether. That'd be fine, too.
All All right, well, that's well, I love the Braves, but anyways, yeah, I got to thank my girlfriend first and foremost. She gives me the time to do this and supports me, which is huge. But also, man, my teammates at Ironman Motorsports, man, we work together all week, get the setup dialed in, and I can't wait for Vegas next week because I think we're going to be really hot next week. So hopefully, this is just the beginning of things to come from Ironman Motorsports anyways.
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations on the P3 finish tonight. We will see you in Vegas, where I'm sure it's going to be nice and hot. So congrats, man.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you guys' broadcast. I love it.
Trust me, we love watching it just as much as you love putting on the show. So thank you. As that, of course, the voice of Mike Witt, driver of the number 78, finishing in third position tonight. Alan, what a race we had tonight.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a good race. The first couple stages were a little rocky, but once we got everything kind of figured out, things went on, and it turned out to be a pretty good show. So you were right about RJ Root and Chris Davis working together. Holy cow!
I mean, I get that. I do.
I mean, you called your shot.
I mean, if you're going to call your shot, you might as well do it at the right time, And, at this stage in the race, or at this stage in the season, I mean, we've got to get to the point where a lot of these drivers are going to have to get more comfortable with their teammates as we get deeper in here. So congratulations to everybody tonight who finished this race, as we had just all kinds of mayhem early on in this piece. We want to take one final look at our final results here tonight. RJ Root brings home the checkered flag tonight from Field Filler Racing. He's joined on the podium by Chris Davis and Michael Witt. Tane Hodison finishes in fourth, while Skip Gandy makes up the rest of the top five. Eric Papineau finishes in sixth, with Alex Princeton, Sean Rogers, Alexander Gangler, and Chad Sanner rounding out your top 10. Anthony Savignano winds up coming home in 11th position, while Tanner Marty, Ricky Williams, and Bobby Anderson come home 12th, 13th, and 14th. Chris Claude, the chief cook and bottle washer here in the SRM Cup Series, comes home 15th, while Ken Ron and John Wilco finish 16th and 17th. Rich Jett, Mike McConville, and Nolan Hodgson round out the top 20, while Ron Fitting, Tyler Sexton, and Rafael Rodriguez finish 21st through 23rd. Richard Pruitt and Steve Herring come home in 24th and 25th, while Mark Johnston and Kavaja Holt get to bring home 26th and 27th place honors. Sean Kelly in the 23 comes home in 28th, while Jeff Carson and Brian Tarnowski come home in 29th and 30th. Timothy Cook finishes in 31st, while Randall Watkins finishes 32nd. Kevin Zasiak, and in fact, Watkins, one of the few drivers to finish where he started. Kevin Zasiak finishes in 33rd, with Alex Murray and Dalton Mobley finishing in 34th and 35th. Derek Heitman and Matt DiCiani round out the top 37, with Randy Belk and Patrick Gitter in 39th, and finishing shotgun on the field, Mr. Matt Metler coming home in 40th position. So a rough night for Metler as he brings home the 64 after just 17 laps. So a rough night for him, but to be fair, there's always next week here in the Stacy Strong Cup Series, Sunday Night NASCAR, right here on Sim Racing Media. So for myself, Dave Regal, and my broadcast partner extraordinaire, Mr. Alan Bergen out of St. Louis, Missouri, I want to thank you for making us a part of your evening, and as you go through and walk down the road of life, please don't play in traffic. Good night, everybody.